Gungnir is the John Wick of his story, maintaining his position as the most terrifying legendary assassin the world has ever known. But surprisingly, the same man has turned into an ordinary high schooler. Don't let that fool you though. He still has the same skills and absolutely dogs on a group of thugs like it's a regular Tuesday. Having destroyed his targets in the background, he welcomes his peaceful new life as a regular high school student. But to get here, let's go back to his backstory. This guy is the strongest assassin ever and was on his final mission to leave for good. Seizing his target, Chairman Akagi, he showcases godlike speed, reacting incredibly fast to bullets, and eliminating everyone in his path. Akagi knew that he wasn't getting out of this one alive and begged for mercy, when Hayate, who is also an assassin and Tuji's best friend, killed the guy for him. Their organization tasked them to kill Akagi, so naturally they shoot the chairman down and conclude their job. Shortly after the kill, Tuji glanced at Akagi's phone screen and saw a photo of him with his daughter. He no longer wanted to participate in a life of killing and officially retired. Tuji returns home to his beloved girlfriend Mirai, who is waiting to cook a nice meal for him. On his way back, Hayate is out here singing praises of Tuji's expertise and how amazing he is as the #1 assassin. Though everyone fears his name and reputation, Hayate thinks that it helps in their line of work. He already feels sad that his best friend is retiring for good, but our boy's done grinding his job and wants to cruise a normal life. All of it started happening ever since he met Mirai, his girlfriend. He wants to live a peaceful life with her and their dog John, allowing him a rare warmth that he couldn't normally experience before. Hayate thinks that it's going to be hard for an assassin, especially when all he knows is how to kill. Surprisingly, the ruthless assassin is also a lover boy who wants to propose to his girlfriend soon. Returning home, Tuji looks dapper and welcomes his new life of normalcy. He's nervous like a geek, preparing himself to meet his lover. The smell of blood puts him on edge and terror looms over him. He wants to start a new life with Mirai, but right as he dashes in, his hopes are reduced to ashes. Mirai is resting in a pool of blood alongside his dog. Defeated, he goes up to her, questioning what could have caused this to happen. Sensing Hayate just behind, he calls out his best friend, who praises Tuji for always knowing who's following him. Unfortunately, the organization doesn't want someone like him to live a retired life, especially when he refuses to help them achieve their goals. Hayate thinks that Mirai is a problem, which is why he killed her, allowing Tuji to become free. By the will of Odin, he kills Tuji right when he's already down, regretting the loss of the greatest assassin. In his final thoughts, Tuji reflects the harsh reality. A man like him could never achieve a happy ending and a normal life, and because of him, his lover suffered the consequences for the actions of a ruthless murderer who dared to dream too far. That's until he hears a bunch of voices murmuring in his unconscious state, helping him. Those voices seem unfamiliar up until he finally reopens his eyes. But this time, he is no longer Tuji the assassin, and he's no longer dying next to his loved ones. The boy helplessly tries to move out of the bed in a state of panic. His vision is blurry until he takes a look in the mirror, realizing he's someone completely different. At this moment, the once feared most ruthless assassin of his time is nothing more than a young boy. Kaido Fujiwara is told that he has cleared all of his tests and his rehabilitation cycle has been successful over the course of the past month. The doctor is happy to exclaim that the boy's lost memories will also return when he returns to his usual life, implying that Kaido experienced some kind of amnesia. Though that's just one side of the story. Because for Korean John Wick over here, the last thing he remembers is the heartbreaking sight of his beloved girlfriend resting in cold blood, alongside his treasured dog. The man known as Tuji, the deadliest assassin who wanted to exit from the dark life he had led, was betrayed by his one and only friend Hayate. The next thing he knows, he's inside the body of a young boy, except his identity is completely different from the cold-blooded assassin he once was. There's far too much to untangle for him, but for now, the guy has pieced together a bunch of things during his stay at the hospital. Apparently, Kaido Fujiwara, the original owner of his body, was tragically run over and became a victim of Truck-kun on his way to school. The boy suffered a life-threatening brain injury that required immediate surgery, and after falling into a month-long coma, he finally woke up. Except this time, it's not Kaido, but rather Tuji, who is genuinely curious about the process of surgery and how it was carried out. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any clue on what happened shortly after he was killed. The last thing he remembers was a voice claiming that Tuji's brain was perfectly unharmed. Putting two and two together, Bro realizes that he got his ass lobotomized Kenjaku style. Confusion surrounds him regarding the exact details of the aftermath of his death, but a gush of emotions overpower him. The same ruthless assassin sheds one tear after another, grieving the loss of his beloved girlfriend and his happy future to be. In the next scene, Kaido is discharged and goes to his parents. Kyoko, the boy's mother, breaks down in tears like any mother would after seeing her child return home safe. His father, Taro Fujiwara, is interestingly a manga artist, who equally celebrates his son's speedy recovery. The boy's mother is worried about Kaido's amnesia, while her husband tries to assure her that everything's going to be okay as soon as he returns to his normal life. Excited, they turn to their son for his input, but unlike their excitement, the only thing Tuji can experience is dread. He understands that his new identity has become tied to Kaido, but if there's someone connected to the incidents involving his life, then that means things will get complicated soon. But for now, he beams a happy smile, assuring his parents he's gonna be alright, because internally, the deadliest assassin has settled to blend in for now. We quickly transition to the part where they arrive home. Kaido out here experiences true shock, realizing that the kid is a trust fund baby because this house is big as hell. Turns out that his dad isn't just your average manga artist, he's successful. Bro probably wrote Solo Leveling or something, and yes, before you all gangbang me in the comments, I know it's a manhwa. Also, his mother emerges from a family of a renowned doctor, so that's something too. Kyoko directs the boy to his room, and upon stumbling inside, Kaido takes a second to absorb his surroundings. The assassin notes the tidiness in this room. Perfectly organized, and honestly, it's not any different from a typical high schooler's living space. Recalling the boy's parents, he remembers how both of them were worried sick and frequented checking up on him in the hospital. This means Kaido is loved and cherished by his family, and it reminds the assassin of his girlfriend's one and only desire, for him to be happy. This is the kind of happiness that the assassin couldn't experience because of his life. If anything, the assassin Tuji doesn't want to lead a life that ends up disappointing Kaido's parents. Strangely, he notices an interesting photo. This time, it's not just the boy's parents, but also another family of 3. From the looks of things, the assassin understands he has to learn everything he possibly can about the boy's background. The following morning, we got a new visitor. This chick pulls up in a long-ass limo just to visit Kaido, disregarding the fact that he was only discharged 1 day ago. It seems that she's stubborn about seeing him because of how far they go back. The boy's father opens the door to find the radiant Yuzua smiling at him. She's eager to check on her friend's condition, asking what he's doing. Right as the boy's father is about to answer, Kaido peeps in and realizes that Yuzuha is the same girl he saw in the photo. Without wasting another breath, the girl strangles him with a tight hug, offering her concerns for his health. Kyoko is glad to see them bonding together like always. As for our boy, he's keenly observing everyone's reaction and pieces together the information that Yuzuha must be his childhood friend. She's excited and wants to invite him for a ride to school, but Kaido rejects it, realizing that this chick's family background is even wealthier than his own. Taro tries to butt in, but Yuzuha shoves this man right into the car, promising to take care of his state. She turns back to announce a celebratory party for Kaido's successful recovery. Both his parents are left astonished and resume work, while our duo sets off for school. At school, a bunch of thugs that look like they live on the streets are about to execute their plan. Tetsu, their leader, intends to mess with Yuzuha, even though his friends are scared that they'll get in trouble for hurting the daughter of Steve Jobs. Giving them a strong glare, Tetsu reminds his clowns that they're acting like pussies for no reason. He thinks that they've already gone too deep by taking money from a specific someone, which means they really have no choice but to execute this job. That's just the kind of people they're dealing with. As they're discussing their malicious plans, Yuzuha's expensive escort arrives, except this time, they're surprised to see a boy next to her. His goons explains that he's just a normie who happens to be her childhood friend and got into an accident recently. Hearing this, Tetsu is intrigued and creeps up with a smile. In the next scene, both Yuzuha and Kaido part their ways for their own classes. The assassin takes a second to assess her personality, believing that she's a kind friend who looks out for him like an older sister. Entering his new classroom, Kaido experiences a hint of normal life, having never attended a proper school before. The clueless boy asks for his seat, and a classmate is happy to see him. But the same guy's face turns from a smile to the look of fear when he sees the towering Tetsu standing just behind him. The intimidating jerk picks on him, declaring that there's no place for Kaido in this class and that he's going to be coming with them. Shortly after, the same group takes him outside, while the clueless Kaido is out here questioning if he's got a desk here or something. Recalling the way these guys snickered earlier, Kaido senses that they must be messing with him, especially now that they're eyeing him down. Pissed off, Kaido demands to know where his seat is, while Tetsu and his underlings find the situation entertaining. Walking up to the boy, the delinquent offers the innocent boy a dilemma. If he can beg on his knees, then they'll be happy to let him be with just a few punches. Apparently this guy's got to stick up his ass because Yuzuha likes Kaido instead of him. Tetsu even threatens the boy that if he ever dares to step a foot in her direction, he's gonna kill both of them. It's funny that he's saying this to basically John Wick out here. Kaido takes a second to understand the situation, disappointed to learn that these punks truly are his enemies. He's sad, not for himself, but for his new batch of victims who are about to get bodied. The assassin didn't want to hurt anyone in the boy's body, intending to lead a clean life. For a final warning, he calmly tells Tetsu that if he takes back his words, they can settle this peacefully. Of course, this remark gets the blonde, showerless punk raging like he's having diarrhea after Taco Bell. Pulsing with ferocity, this man charges ahead with his fist, aiming to kill the boy with a single attack. But my glorious king assesses the trajectory of the attack, considering this guy a pure amateur for attacking with a lousy punch, exposing a million weak spots. The attack is so pitifully slow that Kaido doesn't even have to try and easily destroys Tetsu's confidence with a single punch of his own. Realizing that this situation calls for serious measures, he beautifully palm strikes Tetsu's chin, before ragdolling him to the ground with a judo slam. all at the same time realizing that the real world is pathetically peaceful to the hell he's used to. A while passes until Yuzuha comes rushing for his aid, only to realize that this man is aura farming in front of the piercing sunlight. Turns out this man wasn't in danger, he is the danger. Yuzuha is astonished, questioning if the boy standing in front of her is truly the same Kaido she's known all her life. Yuzuha helplessly asks if he's responsible for beating them to the ground. At first our boy is hesitant, and eventually comes up with the excuse that he was dragged into a pointless fight. Apparently Yuzuha heard the news too, which is why she rushed to get to the rooftop to check on him. She wants to believe the reality that an innocent-looking boy like Kaido couldn't have been involved in such a brutal fight. But that's only until he spots a tinge of blood on his collar, thinking that he must have gotten hurt or something. Kaido tries to reason that he's perfectly fine, but Yuzuha is a worried mess and roars at him for making her worry like that. Her worried anger turns to sadness, unable to accept the idea of him getting hurt. The assassin wonders what happened and apologizes anyway. They decide to return to class for now, but as they're leaving, Kaido hears the murmuring of the beaten-up blonde. Bro is mad and plans to take revenge against him. The scene quickly cuts to the late-night party that Yuzuha planned earlier. His parents brought out the champagne and the most salivating food on the table. I mean, who the hell did they hire for all of that, Gordon Ramsay? While the boy's parents are enjoying the moment in a happy laugh, Kaido can't help but once again reminisce the image of his beloved girlfriend, Mirai, who often smiled at him the same and urged him to eat quickly. Hearing her words, this man went from a killing machine to an eating machine. Even their dog wanted to try the food. That same night, Tuji went to his girlfriend, wondering if this is what it felt like to experience a happy moment with one's own family. That same feeling is channeled to his current self, as he finally experiences what a normal life feels like. Anyway, Yuzuha appears to be late to the party, even though it was her idea to begin with. The boy's father exclaims that Yuzuha is going through some rough times recently, even though she never shows it and always puts on a brave face. Suddenly, an unpleasant feeling starts creeping up in the boy's chest, as if his senses were giving him a warning of some kind. Curious, he checks his phone, only to see his childhood friend calling him. He picks up, asking about her condition, only to hear the same punk's voice from earlier. The punk is glad that he quickly caught on, and invites the boy to come to a specific location according to his coordinates. And if Kaido refuses, they're going to make sure Yuzuha pays the consequences for it. By the way, the same chick and her driver are being held hostage, so he's really not kidding around. Yuzuha's voice roars from behind as she pleads with him not to come, but our boys heard everything he wanted to hear, and realized that they're gonna hurt her if he doesn't act soon. So he asks for directions, and the delinquent gladly offers it. The phone call ends shortly after, and Kaido acts like he was on the phone with another friend instead of her. Informing his parents that he's gotta go for a quick errand, Kaido assures them that he'll be back soon. The scene cuts to the dark and abandoned factory, where nearly a dozen armed men are waiting to beat him up. But not just that, the organization's leader has also arrived, while his bodyguard is casually busy working out behind. The man is pissed that Tetsuya bothered to make the call and even slams a can in his face for it. He's trying to keep a low profile, and being called here all of a sudden puts him at great risk for it. Anyway, the scumbag reveals that he's captured Yuzuha in order to execute the organization's order. Apparently they want to interrogate some secret information from her regarding her inheritance. But so far, she hasn't yet cracked, constantly stating that she knows nothing. That's actually the main reason Tetsuya bothered calling her best friend, the same kid who hovers around her all the time, thinking that if they threaten to hurt him, she'll spill the beans. This way, he'll have succeeded in his order, and as his reward, Tetsuya will officially claim his spot in the organization. The organization's leader is fine with that, but warns the blonde of what will happen if he fails his task. You see, Inokami, the muscle freak, isn't one to talk. This man's only orders are to kill, as he demonstrates by chucking a dumbbell so goddamn fast that it tears down a freaking wall. Inokami's mere existence is enough to make the blonde wet his pants, because if he fails, he's gonna be next. Yuzuha roars and makes her position even worse by provoking them, while her assistant tries to calm her down. Unfortunately, that leads to Tetsuya beating his ass, slamming him with his foot, enraged that someone's trying to meddle between the two of them. He tells his underlings to take her assistant aside, and focuses on Yuzuha, assuring her that if she doesn't talk, her childhood friend is going to die. Even then, the helpless girl confirms that she has no idea what he's talking about. Pissed off, Tetsuya orders Kaido to be brought to him at once. Right now, they've got 40 thugs with weapons, and a former wrestling behemoth responsible for killing a man in the ring. With this, there's no way the kid will come out on top. The blonde is damn certain that Kaido won't get past Inokami, and in the end, Yuzuha will end up revealing everything. The perspective shifts to our boy, who finally finds his way to the factory. Outside are a bunch of idiots who are about to become his new victims. Casually walking past them, the boy shows no fear, while one of them quickly recognizes that he's their target. But it's already too late because this man effortlessly dismantles them with a painful strike to the neck, putting them down in an instant. With the 3 men defeated, the rest of the thugs quickly charge ahead, but it's their doomsday as the high schooler mops the floor with them, shoving one of the guys into the bin. With a murderous glare, Kaido warns the thugs not to enter his line of sight if they want to continue living their lives in one piece. And yes, the One Piece is real. Back to Tetsuya, his boss is starting to feel concerned that the kid isn't showing up, even wondering if the boy decided to chicken out. He's a kid after all, but only the blonde scumbag knows that what he fought on the rooftop wasn't a kid, but a demon. He tries to reason with his leader Suo, assuring him that their opponent isn't normal. Speaking of the devil, they hear their men chanting Fujiwara's name just outside the factory. Yuzuha is shocked while the blonde coward is terrified for his life. The door bashes open as a man's body is flung like a paper ball, landing right next to Tetsuya's feet. Excited, the muscle maniac turns to meet his target. Meanwhile, the seemingly harmless boy reminds Tetsuya of his warning from last time. This man is having a hard time holding back his strength just so that he doesn't kill these guys. Mr. Suo is baffled, questioning how one child was able to annihilate 20 thugs all on his own. Casually adjusting his tie for maximum aura, Kaido demands to see his friend. Yuzuha's scream surges throughout the factory, worried that he came for her. Thanks to her voice, he knows that she's exactly 30 meters ahead. He's glad that she's doing okay, and scans his environment for the hostile men ready to attack him. In the span of what appears to be no more than 53 seconds, this man's speed blitzes the hell out of the room, shocking the boss with his godlike ability as he takes down every man around. Even Tetsuya is crawling like a little bitch, realizing that they fudged around and found out the hard way. The fear of death looms over him as our boy grabs Tetsuya before locking a fist, promising to make him suffer quite a bit. In the next few moments, this man throws lightning-fast punches, precisely shattering Tetsuya's clavicles, his lower ribs and elbows. As if that excruciating pain wasn't enough, the dude slams him into the nearest wall with a simple push. Mr. Suo's men are all terrified and absolutely don't want to get smoked by our boy. They want to make a run for it, but he reminds them he's paying them for the job. Suo is starting to realize the true level of danger they're dealing with. Their target isn't a helpless boy, but a monster. Thanks to being blindfolded, Yuzuha hasn't seen a thing. He goes up to her and assures her that everything is going to be alright. Right as our boy is about to untie her ropes, the behemoth shoves his fist to slam him. The attack connects in a heavy blow, while Yuzuha screams in panic. Suo thinks that they might actually have a chance of victory thanks to the former pro wrestler's monstrous physique. But unfortunately for him, when the dust settles, it's revealed that the punch didn't connect at all. In fact, Kaido has even launched a counter kick against his opponent, stopping him in place. The maniacal wrestler doesn't care and prepares another attack, but it's also redirected by Kaido, who goes on to hammer a devastating punch in his face. The punch is so brutal that it shatters his nose, and even then the wrestler thinks that Kaido won't be able to defeat him with such strength. Having exchanged a few blows with this guy, the assassin internalizes that he's dealing with the strongest of the bunch, and because of his current physique of a high schooler, it's hard for him to one-shot this guy like he normally would. So instead, he goes for a different measure. Right as the wrestler is about to strike him down, our boy becomes the Flash and teleports out of his sight, setting his target to be Inugami's ribs. From then on, Kaido unleashes a heavy barrage of hits, all concentrating on a singular point, kneeing him and punching him until the musclehead experiences terror and is knocked out. Call him David for slaying the Goliath. Seeing their insane wrestler getting folded like that, the remaining 6 men run the heck away, which is probably the smartest decision they've made. Though normally Kaido would finish his targets off, right now he's got to worry about Yuzuha. He quickly undoes her ropes and puts on a happy face, expressing his satisfaction to see her doing okay. He assures Yuzuha that the situation is under control, and that Kawai, her assistant, is also going to be fine. Of course, this kind of traumatizing situation isn't normal for a girl like her, which makes Kaido wonder if she's afraid. But hilariously, she grabs his tie and instead of thanking him, goes ballistic on his ass for taking the worst route imaginable. You see, he could have easily called the police to resolve this situation or consulted adults, but instead bro had to make a movie entrance and solo 40 men all on his own. Still, Yuzuha offers her gratitude that he went so far as to protect her, but it pains her every time he puts himself in danger like that. Her current state is once again reminiscent of Mirai, who always told Tuji to return home, always worrying that she'll lose him someday. Kaido levels with her and promises his friend that from now on, he's never going to make her worry again. Their mellow moment is interrupted by the groans of Kawai, the poor guy who got beat up for no reason. Kaido hears the sound of police sirens and realizes the cops are here, emphasizing that it's time for them to return home. Over to a different side, Suo barely managed to escape, unable to comprehend how not even the musclehead was able to stop the monstrous child. Apparently this guy also has his own boss, who seems to be some kind of kingpin of underground crime. This terrifying boss reveals that he sent a Lancelot to deal with the kid. Now that the boy has messed with the Great Will Organization's plans, he's going to pay for it. But before that happens, let's return to our boy's side of things. He's back at home resting on his bed, knowing that he made his parents worry by going on his own like that. While they're sleeping soundly, Kaido remembers how worried his parents were upon his return. Thankfully, the police didn't hold him down for any questioning because of his lack of involvement. As for the thugs, their mission and ultimate goal is still ambiguous in his eyes. Then there's the fact that the man in charge, Suo, also disappeared after the scene. From the looks of things, he thinks that there's something even worse looming in the shadows. As he jogs outside, he internalizes how he doesn't want anyone around him to get hurt anymore. Suddenly, a bunch of projectiles are shot at him, causing him to jump right into the air. The man who shot them is actually baffled that the boy managed to avoid them. By the way, Kaido already knew someone was following him home, which is exactly why he came out here in the first place, giving the spy an easy target. Turning to the guy, Kaido questions his motives. The creepy bastard is impressed that the boy managed to notice him even in his bedroom. It's the first time he's been figured out like that, and with this, it's confirmed that this kid isn't just any normal brat. Giving credit where credit is due, Kaido praises the spy for covering his tracks and being on a completely different level from the thugs he faced at the factory. From those two facts alone, it can be said that this guy doesn't belong to the workings of a normal society, which begs the question of why he was spying on him in the first place. Kaido's stalker is rather impressed, and thinks that the young kid also shares some connections to his line of work. But our boy keeps it simple and maintains his identity of an ordinary high schooler. Refusing to entertain any more small talk, the man prepares his blades for their ultimate showdown. The scene is familiar to our protagonist, who recalls his previous life. The assassin before him officially declares the end of Fujiwara Kaido. This same man is called Sanjo of the Great Will Organization, ranked number 67. Getting into fighting stance, Kaido reflects that he too was once a member of the same organization. Let's visit the headquarters of the Great Will Organization. The council member Akatsuki is frustrated that even after kidnapping Yuzuha, they were unable to obtain any leads. Akatsuki thinks that they should have deployed a lance for the mission from the very start to get things over with. Let's zoom out and focus on the significance of this organization. This group is capable of overthrowing the world into chaos thanks to having 1,000 assassins under its wings. Among them, the top 100 assassins are considered the elites and given the title of lance. Each lance is so reliable that they have a near enough 100% success rate for each job. Among other things, Minami and Akatsuki are the same. Minami reveals that they're searching for a specific treasure that will shift the balance of the world. That treasure is called Fenrir's Seed, and Yuzuha is supposedly the current owner of that sacred treasure, though they don't have any evidence to conclude such a thing. Yashima reveals that he's already sent Sanju for the job. The revelation shocks them, because before using a lance, one requires the permission of Odin. But that's the thing. Yashima has already acquired such permission. First off, they know that Yuzuha's bodyguard is trash, so there's no way it could have been him, concluding that there is more to the situation than they understand. He deems their enemies a threat, and therefore wants to eliminate them at the hands of the lances. That brings us to the scene of the fight, where Kaido realizes that he's dealing with someone from the same organization. The stance Sanju is using is perfected and difficult to read, signifying his elite status as a lance. This also confirms our boy's worst suspicions, that everything surrounding Yuzuha's troubles is actually being controlled by the organization in the background. It's not a case of a simple inheritance loot, but something greater. Sanju quickly observes the boy's stance and remarks that he isn't a high schooler at all. The kid is fearless and feels natural when a weapon is pointed at him. Sensing danger, Kaido deems him a threat for Yuzuha and lunges forth to strike him down. The first few punches are casually evaded by the expert assassin, who reflects that the kid is incredibly fast and accurately aiming for his weak points. From this angle, it really seems like Kaido is an assassin of his own class. However, Sanju isn't a joke. This man nearly stabs him in the face, causing our boy to maintain his distance. From their brief encounter, Kaido has learned a bit about his opponent's specialized fighting style. Sanju is a fighter who prioritizes his range to his advantage. The assassin is impressed by the kid's skills and decides to go on the offensive by lunging right into the air. The tables have turned, and though he goes for a butterfly slash at first, the assassin quickly rewires himself into a different stance in an effort to overwhelm our boy. Sanju is genuinely pleased to find his opponent dodging like an expert. Meanwhile, our boy is starting to realize that he's far behind when it comes to strength and speed. There's only one way to defeat an opponent like this guy, and that is to scan his environment. While the elite lance is going heavy on the offensive, he thinks that he's finally achieved an opening to strike. But much to his shock, when nails the final blow, Kaido casually slips out of his jacket before stabbing his neck with a precise swing. Surprisingly, the lance managed to evade it just in time, and retaliated with a swing of his own. The slash ends up cutting Kaido, blood drips down, and the realization sets in that he's dealing with a powerful lance. He's realizing his own limitations for having a weaker and untrained physique, while the lance is rather impressed by the boy's attempt to trap him. He talks about how Kaido's perfected movements showcase that he's easily a professional in combat, except the only thing he lacks is pure killing intent. The only order he received was to assassinate a high school student, but now it makes sense to him why a lance was given such a job. Sanju reveals that he's a threat to the organization's intentions with Yuzuha, which is why he must be assassinated at once. Thanks to his own confession, Kaido is now certain that the organization is connected to everything. Deciding to switch his mode of fighting, the assassin decides to activate his combat mode, striking a cool-ass pose. He won't be holding anything back, promising to show the true fragment of his killing intent. Sanju lunges forth with his batshit crazy dragon dance form, which is essentially hundreds of blade strikes hurling at our boy. The lance has become mindless in his pursuit and literally skins down a tree with ease. Meanwhile, Kaido finds himself a safe spot to hide, realizing that he's dealing with someone way beyond the level of a normal assassin. The crazy fucker tornado slices his cover, unleashing a geyser of water. Having suffered another cut on his body, Kaido realizes that he's dealing with an S-class user on top of a lance. His endless slashes are so incredibly difficult to deal with that not even our boy can get out unscathed. Sanju goes ballistic and accuses the high schooler for being a killer too, wondering if it's fine if Yuzuha is killed as collateral. And well, that's where this man fucked up, because that line alone triggers Kaido's traumatic flashback sequence, except this time, the face of his girlfriend is replaced with the one of his friend. Pissed off, he lunges forth to tackle the assassin head-on, smashing the blade right out of his hand, grabbing it, and then speed blitzing a sharp cut right across his shoulder. It all happens so fast that not even an expert lance is able to perceive what went wrong. All he can think about is what kind of monstrous kid he's dealing with. Our boy refuses to experience the guilt and suffering that he did last time, which is why he promises to protect Yuzuha with his life. The lance thinks it's pointless to resist his fate as he's going to die by the will of God. Bro is a shoulder down and still wants to fight. His endless slashes are useless from now on, because Kaido is expertly matching each attack like a seasoned professional. Accusing the high schooler for being a coward, Sanju leaves himself wide open during one of his attacks. Reminding him of his place, Kaido goes right behind him, painfully slashing his thigh and belittling the pro-assassin for being so loud. Reduced to such a state, Sanju can't help but question how this guy got so fast all of a sudden. Reusing the same tactics like last time, he tries to overwhelm our boy. It ends in disaster for him, because Kaido leaves a bunch of cuts right around his left arm, revealing that there's no point anymore as he's already read all of his moves. In his next attack, Kaido burst with incredible speeds, becoming a Beyblade and slashing all his way to Sanju's body. Donning his murderous glare, he deems the end of the lance, who is still out here questioning how one could master such swift knife work and such godlike speed. The way he's fighting reminds him of the wrath of Gungnir, the #1 assassin among their ranks. Kaito brutally rips this guy's body until he's left gushing out a pool of blood. The fight is over with Sanju realizing just how outclassed he was right from the beginning. As he's panting heavily, the lance trembles in fear, sensing that he can't even move a muscle anymore because the tendons in his arms have been severed. But our boy is kind enough to leave at least one leg for him to get by. As for the rest, the killing machine assures him that his career as a lance is finished, and that he won't be able to kill anyone anymore. Ruthlessly, Kaito remarks that in this way, the assassin will lose the only part of his identity that he treasures the most. It's a fate worse than death because these people can't even blend in normal society. But before leaving this guy alone, the boy declares his 2 questions, promising to painfully cut his other leg if he refuses to answer. For his first question, he wants to know the name of the man who issued the order, and why specifically they're targeting the girl. Giggling like a fool, Sanju reveals that he's not going to talk even if he tortures him and kills him as he has sworn loyalty to his one and only God, and that he'll never betray his will. The mention of God confirms everything for Kaito, but unfortunately sirens start buzzing all around. Sanju's recklessness has attracted the cops. In that brief window, the guy manages to use his only leg to escape. He recommends the kid to get out too before he's caught. Before leaving, Sanju wonders if the boy really wants to be an ordinary high school student. That question floods him down memory lane, because Kaito remembers how everyone around him thought he can't experience a normal life, simply because he's lived his life as a cold-blooded assassin. Even now, as he's covered in blood, the thought clings to him. Is he really normal? Can he even be considered a high school student? That question is yet to be answered, but we shift to the headquarters where Yashima learns about Sanju's update. Izumo reports that the lance has been effectively dismantled to the point he can't even continue working anymore. Akatsuki is out here amazed by Kaito's abilities to take down an expert assassin, beaming with excitement. Izumo confirms that whoever it was a monster, because Sanju described the guy's movements to be similar to Gungnir, a name that draws attention among them all. Even Akatsuki thinks it's an overestimation to say that, to compare this guy to the strongest knife user to ever live. Izumo understands their frustration, especially when Gungnir's name isn't tossed around lightly. Minami breaks their confrontation while Akatsuki whines about the significance and specialty of Tuji. Regardless, they think that this random bodyguard of Yuzuha has proven himself to be considerably powerful. Not only did he disrupt their plans, but he also dismantled a lance-level opponent. With this development, Yashima and the others can no longer wait around. The whole thing leaves Yashima questioning the mystery behind Kaito Fujiwara. Speaking of our boy, he goes back to his room and patches himself up in secrecy. He's having a bit of an identity crisis, knowing that he's supposed to be an ordinary high schooler instead of an assassin like he used to be. Unfortunately, he has to help Yuzuha escape the sights of the organization. And then there's the fact that they'll target him even more now that he's defeated a lance. With a body like this, he'll be at a loss. So Kaito intends to put in the work and get strong again. If he has to preserve this peaceful life, then he has to do everything in his path to ensure it stays safe. As for the Great Will organization, Akatsuki volunteers and expresses great interest in taking the mystery man on as his target. They're surprised, but Izumo thinks it's a great idea for a threat of this level. After all, if this guy really does compare to the likes of Tuji, an ordinary lance won't cut it. A curious Akatsuki is all the more happy to use his position to take care of the threat. By the way, this dude is no joke. He's ranked 9th overall and is one of the greatest assassins around. After a day passes since Yuzuha's kidnapping, Kaito's parents and the girl give him a big welcome home party to celebrate his discharge from the hospital. To show his love, his father presents the omuris he worked really hard to make, though that is a little hard to believe because the dish looks pretty cursed. After that, Yuzuha says she made something extra special for him as well, as she places a plate of mouth-watering beef stew in front of him. With a proud grin, she tells him to dig into her masterpiece while it is hot, and the moment it hits his taste buds, our boy instantly gets a flashback of the past to when he was leaving the house, and Mirai asked if he would be out late once again. However, that time he told her he would be home in time for dinner, because he only needed to meet someone and pick up a thing or two, giving no clue about his actual work. Mirai was really glad to hear that because she was making his favorite beef stew that day, and that made him very happy. Then, he told her with passionate eyes that he would share something important with her when he got back before he left, and she bid him farewell with her precious smile and a smiling Johnny boy in her arms. While eating the beef stew, Kaito becomes sad that he never got to tell her he was quitting his life as an assassin to be with her. Yuzuha gets annoyed seeing his disappointment and asks if it really tasted that bad, but our boy suddenly starts downing her cooking like it is his last meal on Earth. Nearly tearing up, he tells her it tastes delicious. Yuzuha is glad to hear that, and his mother tells him there is a lot more where that came from if he has a big appetite. As he watches his father set the pan on fire and Yuzuha smiling with the cake and enjoying herself, our hero is grateful from the bottom of his heart to have such a loving family. Later he walks Yuzuha back home because things have gotten more dangerous recently. He asks her if she noticed anything unusual happen around her since then, but she tells him she has police all around her house so she should be safe at the moment. Confused, Kaito asks her why her butler is not with her, and she says she personally requested him to stay away because he is so annoying it is impossible to have fun with him anywhere around. Anyway, she lets him know she had a lot of fun at his house, admitting it has been a very long time since she got to laugh so much again. Her expression quickly turns serious as she confesses she has been feeling pretty down ever since she lost her father. Hearing that, our boy is completely speechless, and Yuzuha realizes she did not tell him about that yet because she did not want to make his amnesia worse with such stressful news. She says it happened around 2 months ago at the same time as the car accident that sent him into a coma. Kaito realizes that is why she was so emotional about losing him as well back then. But she stayed strong and never let her sad feelings show by covering them up with her cheerful personality instead. Our boy apologizes to her for making her worry, but Yuzuha tells him it is no big deal and points out he has not changed a bit, surprising him. Then, she thinks that he did mature a little, but even when he was a small kid, he had the habit of being reckless and fighting kids much bigger than him whenever they bullied Yuzuha, even though he always knew he could not win. Just like that, he came for her when she got kidnapped, but she couldn't see his amazing moves because she was blindfolded. Yuzuha becomes suspicious and asks him how exactly he saved her. Our boy dodges the bullet saying that everyone who saw him got so scared, which technically did happen after he destroyed their comrades like a monster, making Yuzuha doubt even more. Still, she thinks that it does not matter as long as he is brave enough to come for her in a pinch. Yuzuha confesses she was scared out of her mind when the gangsters were threatening her and Kawai, but when she saw his face glowing brighter than the morning sun, she was genuinely happy. For that, she thanks him. And being smooth as he is, our boy tells her he will save her no matter how many times she needs him, making her redder than a ripe tomato. After that, the flustered girl yells at him to get in close and pulls out her phone to take a cute selfie with him. Proud of the good shot, she says she will make it her wallpaper so she remembers the amazing day, not realizing it might start weird rumors at school. However, Yuzuha mumbles it will also help her move on, and seeing Kaito able to worry about her so soon after his life-changing accident, she is inspired to finally stop clinging to her dad's unexpected death. Our boy smiles as he realizes Yuzuha is struggling just like him, and that motivates him to protect his precious childhood friend even more. Right then, he is shocked when she pulls out her phone and shows him the picture of her dad. His soul nearly exits his body when he recognizes who her father is, and he confirms if the man really is her father, to which she replies his amnesia must be serious, because her dad was always so kind to him. With a serious expression, she mentions that a lot of people around her badmouthed her father, but he was always nice to her, and that is why she loved him from the bottom of her heart. Looking at the picture of Yuzuha's father carrying her on his back, Kaido recalls seeing the exact same wallpaper before when he finished his final mission. It hurts every fiber of his soul as he realizes he was the one who stole Yuzuha's father away from her. Seeing how sad he is, Yuzuha asks him why he got so quiet all of a sudden, while Kaido processes everything, standing before the Akagi group chairman's daughter, the man he assassinated in cold blood. He tries to rationalize, thinking that Hayate was the one who pulled the trigger and he would not have taken the mission if he knew he was her dad. But he feels guilty because he blindly followed the Great Will's words that Chairman Akagi betrayed the organization, so he must be eliminated. He feels even worse because he did not feel a thing back then, and now he has put Yuzuha in danger as well, so he considers telling her that he was once an agent of the organization who ordered her father's death. He grits his teeth in deep frustration, still unable to make a final decision. The next day at school, he quietly sits at his desk while all the girls in class chat loudly about the new transfer student coming, hoping it is a hot guy. In the end, our boy decides not to tell Yuzuha, because the organization will not stop coming after him just because he put a single lance out of commission, so his only real choice is to keep protecting her at all costs. Just then, the teacher announces that a new transfer student has arrived, and when the boy asks for permission to enter, our hero instantly recognizes his voice, staring in disbelief. Taking one look at the pink-haired, cheerful boy, he wonders what one of the divine spears could possibly be doing at his school. Remembering the last psycho who came after him, his suspicion is confirmed that the Great Will sent this one as a direct response to his interference with Yuzuha's kidnapping. Suddenly, the boy turns to our hero and pierces his very soul with a cold, unblinking stare, openly declaring who his intended target is. There is no doubt at all that the pink-haired brat is Akatsuki, one of the organization's 12 divine spears, codenamed Bident. Sometime later, during the PE lesson, the crowd goes wild for their new transfer student as he casually manages to score yet another basket. The girls are head over heels for the pink-haired boy while his teammate is genuinely surprised that he manages to jump so high despite his short height. Makoto plays it off by saying it was a great pass and motivates his team to get another hoop in, while the opponent team gets irritated that the transfer student is already stupidly popular with the ladies. Meanwhile, Kaido does not let his guard down at all as he finds it odd that the lance has still not made a single move and wonders what on earth he is even planning. You see, the Lances are an elite group of the top 100 assassins who are each assigned numbers, and out of them, the top 12 are known as the Legendary Spears, who are commanded by their supreme leader Odin. Each of these insanely overpowered assassins has extraordinary abilities that rival 1,000 men. When it comes to assassinations, these people can easily trample over the army of an entire nation. These elite warriors are only deployed for the most critical missions, which makes Kaido come to the conclusion that it can only mean they are hell-bent on targeting Yuzuha. Kaito looks down in sadness as the painful memories from his last mission hit him, and he figures that the assassins must be after the secret treasure that the chairman has supposedly stolen from them. It keeps bothering him that if Akatsuki decides to act at this school, can he really protect the lives of everyone here, including his childhood friend, with his current body of a high schooler? Sometime later, everyone returns to their classroom, but the students still do not stop fangirling over Makoto and keep begging him to join them for karaoke. He is an instant hit with the ladies, who start crushing on him even harder once he reveals that he practiced a bit of basketball back in the United States. Meanwhile, our hero watches the situation from a distance and realizes Akatsuki is not making his move today, and he makes a mental note to stay on full guard tomorrow. Just then, he hears Yuzuha call out to him and ask if he can go somewhere with her after school. Our boy instantly rejects her offer without even hearing her out, insisting she should just go straight home for the day. However, out of nowhere, a hand rests on his shoulder, and Makoto appears from behind to greet the girl cheerfully by her name, which instantly sets off all sorts of red flags for Kaido that he is seriously after Yuzuha. Makoto introduces himself, but Yuzuha points out he is already quite famous as the hot new guy all over the school, and she asks how he even knows her name since they have never actually met. The cheerful transfer student tells her with a carefree smile that she is the high school girl who inherited the Akagi group fortune, which completely catches her off guard. She suddenly gets a bit depressed while Makoto continues, saying his father is indebted to the chairman, so he was instructed to look after her, but when he tries to invite her somewhere, our boy suddenly cuts in and makes an excuse that he hurt his finger during practice and actually needs to go to the nurse. Our boy gives him a cold death stare, which convinces him to play along, and the two boys part ways with Yuzuha. She looks back with a smile and thanks Kaido for protecting her from weirdos once again. A few moments later, as the two are standing on the rooftop, Makoto admires the view and goes on about how wonderful the prime time of a high schooler's youth is. He then looks back at Kaido and jokingly asks if he brought him here to confess his love or something, but our boy keeps giving him the silent treatment. Makoto simply laughs it off and continues that Yuzuha is honestly quite cute up close in person, but says he cannot believe that she is the chairman's daughter. Kaido gets straight to the point and demands to know what his goal for coming here really is, wondering if it is revenge for the purple-haired guy. The transfer student looks as unbothered as ever and casually asks if he is actually the one who took out Sanjo. He starts analyzing his physique and finds it surprising that he managed to win against Sanjo with only a couple of minor injuries, but our hero repeats his question again, becoming visibly more annoyed by the second. The assassin finally drops his innocent act and admits that he wants to get his hands on the secret treasure that Yuzuha inherited from her father, which fully confirms our boy's suspicions. Akatsuki continues that they do not even know what it actually is and just want information for now. He offers our hero a chance to join their organization since he is stronger than some of their assassins. The boy adds that they only target bad guys, make good money, and Yuzuha might even give the location of the secret treasure to him since he is close to her. Akatsuki gives him a nasty smile and warns Kaido that it is a very good offer since both he and the girl might actually manage to survive after encountering the organization this way. He then walks to the edge of the roof and holds out his hand, warning Kaido that if he resists, innocent kids are going to get hurt. Our hero refuses to let that slide, and immediately dashes forward toward the assassin as he launches a barrage of quick attacks. Makoto manages to dodge each one with ease and compliments Kaido that he can rival a pro with his swift moves. Just then, our hero manages to grab onto his arm as he reveals that he knew the assassin would try to use bombs. The tiny cube is his unique assassin item, with which he combines explosives and martial arts that are well known in the organization as Biden's default method to annihilate his targets. The mention of his codename catches the assassin completely by surprise as he jumps back and yells that Kaido has way too much knowledge for an ordinary person. Makoto then holds out 6 more bombs in his hands as he smiles like a lunatic and states that he is about to raise the levels. With determination in his eyes, he jumps around the roof and tries to catch the bombs. He manages to grab the first 3 and quickly rushes toward the rest. Our boy then parkours over the wall and uses his feet to catch the other 3. Makoto watches the entire scene unfold and states that there is absolutely nothing normal about Kaido, but then tosses another bomb out of nowhere toward the ground below. Kaido tries desperately to reach it while the assassin taunts him by saying he cannot protect the entire student body like that. Our hero fails to grab the cube as it drops into the field below, while the lunatic in the back snaps his finger and sets the bomb off. Kaido shields his face from the blast as the students below start to panic over the sudden explosion and rush away from the area. Makoto reassures him that he adjusted it to explode before reaching the ground so no one would get hurt, calling it a little bonus for managing to catch 6 of the bombs. Kaido is about to rage, but Makoto cuts him off and holds out even more of the bombs while he asks who he really is and if he will join their ranks. After thinking it over for a moment, our boy answers that he is just a normal high school student and would absolutely never join him. Makoto looks genuinely disappointed by that reply and figures that Kaito will not be convinced unless a few people die, but our boy simply drops one name in response: Gungnir. The mention of that name makes the assassin turn around with a wild look in his eyes, while Kaido calmly states that he was once known as Gungnir. While the school speakers announce an evacuation, Makoto glares down at our boy and gets angry at him for even saying Gungnir's name. But just then he reveals he was only buying time, and before Makoto can process it, school officials arrive on the rooftop to check for any students left behind. The pink-haired punk gives him 3 days to decide whether to join them or not, and warns that he will regret it if he refuses. After that, students get free from the school early because of the explosion, and there is an ongoing chit-chat that no one got hurt from the huge explosion, and Yuzuha asks Kaido why he is not going home. Kaido explains he has something important to do first, and wants her to stay home since the explosion could be another attack aimed at her. Just then, Kawai shouts with passion that safety measures have been increased, and that he has started learning martial arts to protect Yuzuha, yet his over-the-top enthusiasm only leaves her annoyed. Yuzuha asks Kaito to text her if anything happens and he agrees, but once she drives away, he turns back to stare at Makoto as if to let him know he is not fooling anyone. Meanwhile, as Makoto observes our boy, he is positive that Tuji wouldn't let anyone disgrace Gungnir's name. Later on the local train, our boy hopes he has managed to divert Akatsuki's attention away from Yuzuha and toward himself, remembering that although Akatsuki is the youngest of the Divine Spears, his abilities are no joke. Clenching his fist, he thinks about how he has grown used to his new body, but he still has a long way to go before he can take on a Divine Spear in combat. That thought makes him worry that he might lose if they face off after 3 days, yet it does nothing to shake his determination to protect Yuzuha even if it means murdering the pink-haired punk. Just then, our boy gets off at Shibuya Station and makes his way to the place where he was first killed. He leaps onto the balcony while questioning why he even came here since Mirai would not be waiting for him. When the door suddenly swings open, he wonders if it could be a trap set by the organization, But despite that, he strolls into the apartment, only to see the crime scene cleaned up while the rest of the place still looks the same. Just then, he hears a noise and snaps into his fighting stance, expecting an assassin, only to be surprised when his dog John stands there wagging his tail. John excitedly woofs as the good boy runs to him, and our hero notices the frisbee clamped in his mouth. The sight pulls him back to the days when he and Mirai would go to the park and play fetch with John, and his eyes grow teary as he realizes the dog still remembers him. Just then, something catches the corner of his eye, and he spots a photo of himself, Mirai, and John together at the beach. It makes him remember the time when they were on a road trip when she told him that although she never understood the nature of his work, Mirai always wanted him to be happy. He answers that he is satisfied with his life and will die protecting her, but Mirai simply says that a dead man cannot be happy, and she wants him to try living for once. Now weeping like a widow, our hero regrets that he could never make her happy, and that she now exists only in his memories. After that, he returns home and tells his family that a couple had to give up their dog due to difficult circumstances, so he brought it home and wonders if they could keep it. Before he can bargain any further, Taro immediately agrees to adopt the dog, and Kyoto suggests they take turns walking it. When they ask the dog's name, he explains that the last owners called him John. Later, he texts Yuzuha to ask if anything has happened yet, and she says things are rather boring. She mentions hearing about his new dog and asks if she can come pet it, but he tells her not to come now, smiling at his phone because he knows what he must do. After that, he calls Akatsuki, who mockingly asks if he has changed his mind since the 3 days are not up yet. But our boy says he is done playing games and is ready to give Akatsuki a beating on the school rooftop before dawn, vowing to end this once and for all because he is Gungnir. After hearing the name Gungnir, Akatsuki becomes so enraged that he smashes the phone in his hand. In his mind, someone like Kaido could never compare to Lord Tuji, who was the very definition of a perfect assassin. Yet despite that, Kaito still dares to claim the name Gungnir right in front of him. 3 years earlier in the Middle East, the two of them were on a dangerous mission together. At one point, Akatsuki made a critical mistake which left him completely surrounded by enemies. His left arm was blown apart, and it was clear he was about to die. Right as he steeled himself for the end, Tuji suddenly appeared and cut down every enemy in the blink of an eye. Akatsuki had thanked him, saying he was only able to make it this far because of his blast, and urged him to return alive, promising to take care of the mission from there. The next morning, the two of them meet on the rooftop. Akatsuki casually asks Kaito what he is thinking, coming here to fight while wearing a school uniform. Kaito replies that he plans to defeat him first, and then attend his classes afterward. Laughing, Akatsuki tells him they both had the exact same idea, and adds that ever since yesterday, he has been thinking about how Kaito's movements were almost the same as Gungnir. He admits he had once wanted to be like him, but now that Kaito has made him feel Gungnir's presence firsthand, he will never forgive him for it, at least not until he blows him into little pieces of roasted flesh. With a smirk, Akatsuki says that he wants to share a little secret before they start fighting. He reveals that he has planted bombs somewhere in the school, and because his left prosthetic arm is directly connected to his brain, he can detonate them instantly with just a movement of his fingers. If Kaito loses to him, then many people will die, and the only way to stop the bloodshed is by severing the connection between his arm and his brain. That leaves only two options to either cut off his arm or destroy his brain. However, Kaito calmly points out that there is a third option. The bombs can also be disarmed if Akatsuki is knocked unconscious. Hearing this, Akatsuki is genuinely surprised, and Kaito explains that he already told him he knows Akatsuki. As Kaito gets ready to fight, he says that he did not come here to kill him, and he only came to stop him. With a confident smile, Kaito asks if Akatsuki truly believes he can pull that off. Then, without warning, he dashes forward and unleashes an attack. Akatsuki manages to dodge it, but our boy notes that his only advantage lies in knowing Akatsuki's tactics and personality, because the physical performance of this body is nowhere near the same level as his own. Akatsuki tosses several bombs into the air, and when they detonate, the blasts aim to destroy his target's eyes and ears. He follows up by swinging a left hook. However, since Kaito already knows all about this tactic, he swiftly dodges and moves in to land a punch to Akatsuki's chest. In midair, Akatsuki shifts his body and evades the strike. Then, he counters with a solid punch, sending Kaito flying through the air. As Kaito steadies himself, Akatsuki says that flying backward to soften the impact was the right call, because a direct hit from his prosthetic arm would have obliterated Kaito's arm completely. With a menacing smile, Akatsuki warns that if Kaito is truly Gungnir, then this is far from the extent of what he can do. The punch already cracked Kaito's ribs, and he realizes that divine spears are not the kind of enemy one can defeat by simply knowing their techniques. Kaito thinks to himself that as a killer, a peaceful life was never meant for him. Yet if he is still alive, there must be a reason for it. No matter who he faces, he will win without killing anyone. He will survive for the sake of everyone who cares about him. With fierce determination, he throws his hardest punch yet, and the two exchange rapid blows, but Kaito suddenly feels a sharp pain in his head. Akatsuki takes advantage of the moment, unleashing a flurry of strikes. Kaito tries to evade them, but he cannot avoid them all. He tells himself he needs to focus more on reading his opponent's movements. Akatsuki lands a heavy kick, sending Kaido skidding backward. With the distance between them widened, Akatsuki hurls another bomb and detonates it. A massive explosion erupts and he rushes in for the finishing strike. But since Kaido knows his every move, he is already prepared. Akatsuki throws a full-force punch, but Kaido blocks it, telling him that he can feel his rage and killing intent, and something like this will not break his will. He will take in all of Akatsuki's anger and swallow it whole. Akatsuki senses that something is off and jumps backward. Meanwhile, Kaido holds his head as his senses become so sharp he can detect not only the physical objects around him, but also the assassin's consciousness. Akatsuki is caught off guard by the sudden change in attitude and wonders what exactly just happened. He thinks that he launched the last attack from Kaido's blind spot, and wonders how the hell the school kid managed to block something like that, as if he already knew exactly where it would come from. He takes out a few more of the bomb cubes and states that things are starting to get more interesting. He bends over with a serious look and says that he does not know what Kaido is thinking, but promises to break through his defenses with the next move. Our boy takes a defensive position and realizes that Akatsuki is on the offense once again. The pink-haired assassin drops one of the bombs behind him and uses the blast to send the other bomb cube flying full speed toward Kaido. A huge explosion occurs, but our boy manages to dodge it by becoming Jin Woo and stepping to the side at the last second, which causes the item to explode right behind him. Akatsuki calls him impressive for managing to dodge his special attack, but he thinks that if our hero could be assassinated that easily, then there would be no point in sending an elite spear like him. But our boy simply gives him the silent treatment and gets ready to take whatever the pink-haired boy can throw at him. Back at his house, John wakes up from the explosion, and so does Kaido's mother, who wonders where the sound is coming from. She wonders if they might be fireworks. Meanwhile, back at the rooftop, the two are still going full force at each other. Still guarding with his fists, Kaido thinks that even though it is impossible to see Akatsuki's hands, our boy can still predict every move because he knows all of his patterns. Akatsuki tenses up as he prepares his next move, but our boy expertly predicts that he is about to throw 4 bombs which are supposed to detonate 2 meters in front of him. Just as the assassin is about to activate them, Kaido kicks them all in multiple directions to spread them out, which covers the whole rooftop in powerful explosions. Kaido manages to stay on his feet as he shields his face from the intense explosions, but then he predicts the assassin's next move and dodges an incoming punch from the left. Our hero returns the attack with a few sharp jabs of his own, which forces Akatsuki to go on the defensive as he starts realizing that something is definitely off about this. He wonders what the hell is going on since he cannot even manage to land a single hit. The assassin thinks that Kaido's eyes and ears should have long been out of commission thanks to the bombs, not to mention the scorching heat that should make it nearly impossible to breathe. However, the look in our boy's eyes makes Akatsuki feel as if he can see through all of his movements, which makes him flash back to the memory of his beloved Gungnir. He recalls when Kaido said he is Gungnir, but that causes him to rage out as he yells at our hero not to screw with him. He demands to know if the high schooler truly is his 2G, and if that is true, then why the hell he appeared now of all times. On the other hand, Kaido is barely hanging on as he struggles to catch his breath, but still manages to keep his fists up. He realizes that even if he can read the assassin's movements, the boy is still far too fast, and he cannot keep up in this untrained body for much longer. He jumps onto the ledge and makes up his mind to finally stop running away. At the same time, Akatsuki thinks there is nowhere left for the guy to escape. He picks up a handful of the bombs and thinks it does not matter if his moves can be predicted, and dares him to dodge the attack as he throws the bomb cubes toward our hero. Our hero locks in at that very moment and runs forward using every ounce of strength in his body, while swearing to himself that he will never make anyone unhappy ever again. Akatsuki activates the bomb and lights up the entire roof like the sun, but Kaido keeps on advancing forward, even though he can no longer see. He senses the assassin in front of him and goes in for a strike, but Akatsuki manages to dodge it and uses the bomb cube in his metal hand as he throws a knuckle sandwich straight for our boy's head. However, Kaido reads him like a book, blocking the punch with his elbow, which catches him completely off guard, and follows the block with a devastating elbow straight to the face. But he does not stop there. He yells Akatsuki's name and follows with a savage punch to the body, then finishes him off with a kick straight to his gut. The blow shatters his metal arm and sends the assassin flying over the roof's edge, and he falls unconscious as his body approaches the hard, unwelcoming concrete below. The scene then shifts to a flashback where the young assassin tells Gungnir to forget about him and get out of danger, but our hero tells him that he does not want even a single one of his friends to die. Gungnir figures that this sort of mindset does not suit an assassin, but that is exactly why he made the choice. No matter how big the opponent is, he is going to pursue his own sense of justice. Akatsuki finally wakes up and asks Kaido why he saved him, and he replies that his only priority was to disarm the bomb, and he never thought of unaliving him in the first place. The assassin smirks and tells him that he cannot beat the whole organization alone, but Kaido stays firm that he will no matter what, because that is the only sense of justice he can have as a former assassin. The familiar words and look catch Akatsuki by surprise, reminding him of Gungnir, while Kaido states that no matter if it is the Great Will or Odin, he promises to defeat them all. That statement causes Akatsuki to burst into laughter. He repeats Kaido's words and calls him insane to even think of such a thing. To Kaido's surprise, the assassin believes him that he really is Tuji no Cap. The boy smiles and says that only someone insane like Tuji could say something as wild as that, while our hero just looks at him in surprise. The pink-haired boy then gets to the main topic at hand and asks him why he looks like a toothpick when he should be lying 6 feet deep underground. Kaido replies that he was also sure he died back then, but when he woke up, he was suddenly in Kaido's body. He points to his brain and says that for now, it is all that remains of Tuji, which makes Akatsuki sit up in genuine surprise. Our hero continues that the one who gave the order for the hit can only be Odin, which completely drains the color from Akatsuki's face. Kaido then tells him that he definitely needs to get stronger and asks Akatsuki if he will lend him his help, which makes the assassin flash back to that scene again. Akatsuki laughs once more and tells him to stop kidding already. He picks up his metal arm and says he cannot kill him no matter who orders him now that he knows for sure Kaito is Tuji. Our hero asks if he is going back to the organization, but the assassin straight up denies it and says that going back after such a loss is impossible. He then asks the kid what he plans to do now, and Akatsuki gets serious, saying that he will decide after he has looked into everything for a while, since he still finds it impossible to believe that Odin would target Tuji. He tells our hero to get going too since the police are probably on the way, and jokes that school will likely be closed for quite some time. Our hero watches him walk off and begins to call out to him, but all of a sudden he collapses onto the ground. He wonders what the hell just happened as he feels his mind slipping away. Meanwhile, some unknown assassins walk into the scene and proceed to retrieve Gungnir as planned. A voice starts calling to our hero, telling him to wake up already, and he wonders where the voice is coming from. His eyes finally open as he looks around, wondering where he even is, and he realizes that he is back in his original body. The voice then says again that he has finally woken up and tells him that they are both a part of one another now. Kaido slowly floats toward him, which makes Tuji's eyes go wide in surprise. Kaido calls out to him again and tells him to protect Yuzuha with that power, but Tuji refuses to let go as he shouts for the boy and reaches out to him. Right then, he wakes up soaked in cold sweat and is greeted by a friendly canine face. While lying on the ground, he wonders where he even is now. While downstairs, the parents are watching the news, which reports another explosion at the school. Both are extremely worried about the bomb blast, and Kyoto asks if they should take Kaido to the hospital as she reads his messages, which say he came home early and went to sleep because he felt dizzy. The father asks if she is worrying too much and says Kaido is probably just exhausted from everything that has happened, and reassures her that their son will be fine once he gets some rest. Meanwhile, Kaido stares at the ceiling while thinking that his head still feels fuzzy and realizes that he has slept for half a day. He remembers getting dizzy on the rooftop, then waking up in his room with his wounds already treated. He recalls that Akatsuki finally believed he is Tuji, yet he wonders if he showed enough strength in this weak body to truly convince him. That incredible feeling earlier was as if Akatsuki's emotions were flowing into him, and without that, there was a high chance he would have died. He still wonders what happened to his body, but then his phone rings. When he sees that it is Yuzuha, he quickly answers and yells to ask if she is alright, which surprises her. She immediately flips the question on him since he ignored all her messages since morning. He apologizes and says he had been asleep until now, and that he is just glad she is safe. She then tells him about the explosion at school that blew the roof away, and that classes are now cancelled for a week, which he pretends to know nothing about. She realizes something is off and asks Kato if he is involved in this again, which makes him break out in a cold sweat. She then starts scolding him and says he is always getting into trouble, and even asks if, instead of getting sick, he actually got hurt in the school explosion. Kaido sits up and thinks this girl is as sharp as ever. He turns the question back on her and asks if she has been in danger too, and then tells her not to worry anymore because he has decided that no matter what happens, he will protect her. Yuzuha turns redder than a tomato and demands to know what has gotten into him, and tells him not to distract her with cool hero talk. She keeps talking while downstairs Kaido's mom answers the doorbell, yet finds no one there and instead sees a package on the ground. Soon after, there is a knock on Kaito's door and his mother asks if he is awake and says there is a package for him, which she leaves in the hallway. Kaito finds it suspicious, since he did not order anything, and his mom tells him to come for dinner if he is feeling fine, while Yuzuha notices it is late and says goodbye. Kaito picks up the box and weighs it in his hand as he senses no traps, but when he opens it, his eyes widen in shock as he spots his original assassin knife along with a card. He wonders who could have sent this to his house. When he picks up the card, he sees a set of coordinates and tells himself that he must meet the sender no matter what. Our hero wanders through Shinjuku, following the location coordinates written on the note that came with his knife, and notices that although the place is close to the station, the foot traffic drops sharply. This makes him wonder if the sender of the note might be hiding somewhere like this, and he questions whether it could be the person who transplanted his brain, theorizing that it must be Kaido. Eventually, he arrives at an apartment complex and immediately senses that it would make the perfect hideout. He steps into the lobby, but after finding it empty, he moves ahead. He finally stumbles upon an entrance to a lower level and quickly suspects it to be a trap from the person who sent the knife. When he finally reaches the basement parking area, he opens the door and strolls forward, wondering why he was called to this place when suddenly he barely manages to dodge a sneak attack. Spotting an arrow behind him, he sees the person holding the crossbow reveal himself alongside a female accomplice, and she remarks that dodging the arrow could not have been a fluke, since the real Gungnir would even be able to dodge bullets. She then comments that our guy's brain appears to be working great, and our guy, who doesn't recognize them, asks if they are the ones who called him there, but the crossbow wielder says he is not worthy of getting answers and loads another arrow. He shoots it, saying that the hero must prove himself by defeating them. Our boy dodges it in the nick of time and catches sight of a pair of glowing eyes glaring at them from behind. The girl swings her elbow, but he glides out of range just in time, making her strike the pillar instead. Meanwhile, he quickly gauges that the duo has the capability of a mid-level lance, and as she launches another strike, he deflects her punches while noticing that they are using an old organization tactic of creating an opening using a crossbow and ending it with close-quarter combat. Just then, the other guy swings a hook from behind, but our boy pivots and moves in for a double strike, landing an uppercut to the girl's stomach and a roundhouse kick to the man's chin. The impact sends the girl flying while the man staggers back, wondering what kind of force hit him, before he jolts forward to try again. Our guy spots the moves coming from a mile away, just like in the last fight, and predicts that the opponent will open with a 4-strike combo, starting with a left downward slash, so before it even begins, he realizes he doesn't need to dodge, so he blocks the first blow and drives a jab into his chest. As the fight continues, his abilities of spatial awareness, reaction speed, and action prediction accelerate dramatically, and he completely overwhelms the two assassins. The woman quickly realizes that they were not defeated by some child, but by the strongest killer among them known as Gungnir. Just then, the crossbow man laughs and compliments that the hero isn't bad, but says he is done playing, and reaches into his pocket before his partner yells at him to stop because it goes against their orders. But he shouts back that he cannot end it after being humiliated like this. Suddenly, a third voice tells him to stop, and a familiar figure steps into view, greeting our boy Tuji and remarking that his brain transplant was a success. Our guy instantly recognizes him as the organization's doctor, Kyosuke Kuji, and accuses him of being behind the entire brain transplant and links him to the organization. But the doctor tells him to calm down, explaining that although he was the one who called him there, he was not the one who carried out the brain surgery. He adds that he also has left the Great Will organization and promises to tell him everything that happened on the day he died. Completely confused, our boy turns to Kuji and asks who he is. Kuji replies that he will explain everything and tells Kaido that there was an order to kill him, and the one who carried it out was none other than his partner, Hayate. At the mention of that name, our hero's expression quickly shifts to anger. Next, Kuji explains that the order was highly confidential, known only to a select few, and he was one of them. He says that he leaked all the information which allowed Kaido's brain to be recovered before it was hidden away from the organization. Hearing that, Kaido asks if that means Kuji betrayed the organization, and then he demands to know about the other two. Kuji answers that they are members of Agros, a special unit operating under the direct command of the Japanese government. The sole purpose of this unit is to annihilate the Great Will organization. He adds that they are more commonly known as Argos, and they are the ones who transplanted Tuji's brain into Kaido's body. At that, Tuji grows visibly irritated upon learning his brain was handled by the Japanese government. Raoul comments it was his job as a public servant, while Reika politely says she is pleased to meet him. She then explains that the government views the Great Will organization as its greatest threat. Raoul adds that Tuji's brain was preserved solely because they needed his help. Meanwhile, Kaido struggles to process everything he has just heard. Kuji tells him that they had originally been monitoring the progress of his brain transplant, and they were relieved they did not have to kill him. But given the situation back then, his death had seemed inevitable. Hearing that, our boy asks them if they knew he was going to be assassinated, then they must have also known that Mirai was in danger. He gives a cold-blooded stare, and it is so sharp that Reika gets scared. Raoul quickly says that they have no idea about it, claiming they were not even present at the time. As his head begins to throb, our boy grabs it with one hand and asks if the strange power that lets him sense killing intent is also a side effect of the brain transplant. But before anyone can respond, he suddenly collapses to the ground unconscious, leaving everyone frozen in confusion about what to do. While the others are concerned, Kuji seems more intrigued by the mysterious ability he just mentioned. Back at the Great Will organization, Hashima asks Izumi if Akatsuki has reported anything, and Izumi replies that there has been no contact at all, and Akatsuki has even cut off every form of communication. Izumi admits that Akatsuki was always difficult to deal with, but he knows that the 12 divine spears are allowed to do whatever they please so long as they do not defy Odin. Hashima then asks if he believes it is possible for a member of the 12 Divine Spears to be defeated, but Izumi scoffs at his question, saying it is rare to hear a joke from him. He comments that unless they are dealing with Gungnir's ghost, he cannot imagine Akatsuki losing to anyone else. Hashima agrees that Gungnir's strength was monstrous, but he reminds him that the man is already dead, and his body was disposed of long ago. Still, Izumi mentions there are rumors that Argos may have discovered something related to that. Both men agree that if there truly is a spy among them, they need to act swiftly before the situation worsens. Fueled by anger, Hashima states that they must eliminate Argos first before turning their attention toward the seat of Fenrir, and Izumi firmly agrees. At the same time, our boy once again finds himself inside the mind realm and quickly recognizes it as the place he has been to before. Kaito appears before him and explains that this is the place where their minds have merged. At that moment, Tuji confirms that he now understands Kaito's identity and asks if this strange space is his power. Kaito tells him that he will be able to use it in its truest sense, as long as he learns to trust his own instincts. Tuji wakes up and notices the situation feels strangely similar to the one after his fight with Akatsuki, where he also collapsed from headaches and dizziness, only to awaken with Kaito's consciousness present. Sitting nearby, Kuji tells him that they are currently inside one of his hideouts, which connects directly to the parking garage they were in earlier. He then explains that it has been exactly 1 hour and 50 minutes since Tuji collapsed until he finally woke up. He also ran several tests on Tuji's brain while he was unconscious, confirming there was no issue with the neural connections. However, the brain activity is operating far beyond the normal range, and it spikes even more during combat. According to Kuji, the killing intent Tuji senses is likely caused by this heightened brain activity. While he admits that having an expert's opinion would be ideal, but for now he can say with certainty that the condition is extremely dangerous. Kuji warns him that the overload has already caused him to be in a coma for hours at a time, and if this continues unchecked for too long, the strain will become fatal. Our hero stands up slowly, gripping his knife and pointing it straight at Kuji. He coldly reminds the man that he still has not answered the question from earlier. He demands to know if Kuji allowed Mirai to be taken just so he could recruit him. Keeping his voice calm, Kuji replies that he had no knowledge of it, so there is no reason for him to take his anger out on him. The man then asks if he would have preferred to die alongside her. Before the tension breaks, Raoul suddenly kicks the door open, and his voice cuts in as he tells our boy to put the knife away. With a serious look on his face, he taunts the man, saying that the Great Will Organization is a dangerous group aiming to destroy the world, and now one of its crazy former members is sitting there trying to lecture them. Kuji steps in, explaining that Argos believes there are 2 keys to defeating the organization. The first is Gungnir, while the second is a sacred treasure known as the Seed of Fenrir, something they are determined to protect at all costs. Hearing this, our hero's mind immediately flashes back to the time Akatsuki went after Yuzuha for this very reason. He then asks what they expect him to do. Hearing that, Raoul wastes no time in needling him again, saying that now he finally sounds cooperative. But Tuji's assures them as he states that bringing down the organization is already something he has decided to do, with or without them, and Raoul agrees because a shared goal makes him easier to trust. With that, Kuji lays out their plan. They are going to target one of the core facilities of the organization where our hero once worked. Few even know of its existence. It is the research institute where forced human evolution, known as Avalon, was studied. It is also home to a special team dedicated to researching the seed of Fenrir. If they can investigate Avalon, they can uncover everything about the treasure. Our boy thinks that it may also lead him to the truth behind why Yuzuha is being targeted. He then tells Kuji to give him the full details of the operation. When the day finally arrives, an aircraft soars high above an unknown location. Kuji stands beside him, explaining that if he succeeds in stealing and destroying the research, it will deal a massive blow to the organization. The operation is about to begin, and as he readies himself for the mission, the clock ticks down, and only 5 minutes remain before infiltration begins. As 3 minutes remain before the chopper reaches the target location, Raoul glances over at Tuji and asks if he is feeling scared. Tuji calmly replies that he feels the same way Raoul does, though in his mind, he quietly thinks that the moment he has been waiting for is finally about to happen. In the operations room right before the attack begins, Kuji lays out the details of the mission. He explains that the research facility is divided into 2 main sections, the above-ground complex, which has 20 floors, and the underground complex. In the past, this place served as a training ground for assassins, but now it focuses on research aimed at producing mutant assassins through genetic manipulation. Hearing that, Reika comments that it is basically a factory that turns ordinary humans into monsters. Continuing his briefing, Kuji states that their main target is located on the 3rd floor of the underground section, where the most valuable data is stored. This includes crucial information on the seed of Fenrir. Then, Raoul outlines the mission objective is to retrieve the data and, if possible, destroy the facility as a whole. For this, they will split into 2 teams, with one of them stealing the attention of the security forces, while the other infiltrates the building. Although Avalon is an extremely classified facility, its defenses are not on the level of a proper military base. Still, infiltration will be difficult since they have no precise knowledge of the internal layout. 2G volunteers to handle the infiltration himself, but Raoul gives him a sly response, saying that was the plan from the start, and hinting that he already knows the reason 2G has been kept alive up to this point. With a sly grin, Raoul says that our boy's life will be put to use for the sake of world peace, and adds that he will be accompanying him inside, meaning they will have to work together. With only 90 seconds remaining, Raoul and Reika begin giving their final instructions. The man orders everyone to remain at their assigned positions, while Reika tells the team that 10 people will accompany her to the rooftop, and another 10 will head to the main gate. She explains that their task is to create a noisy, attention-grabbing entrance to keep security occupied, giving 2G and Raoul a chance to slip inside during the chaos. Our hero assures her that they will pull it off without fail, and Raoul informs him that they will be making their entry from the south side. As the ramp opens, Raoul notes that he can barely see anything through the thick clouds, but our boy replies that he can clearly sense Avalon right under them. As their landing point approaches, 2G turns to Raoul and loudly announces that he is no longer going to be Gungnir, he is Kaito Fujiwara. With that, the operation starts and everyone starts to jump off the plane. Our hero flies through the air, and Raoul tells him that he is going too fast, but he doesn't listen to him because he is thinking that this is the facility of the Great Will organization where they train the assassins, and here he will find out why Yuzuha is being targeted. When they reach the parachute deployment zone, everyone opens their parachutes and lands safely. Raoul gets really angry with 2G because he thought our boy was going to die, but turns out that he is quite used to stunts like that. Visibly annoyed by his constant yapping, our boy tells him to hide his parachute quickly before someone sees him. They hide in the bushes and scout the area, and Raoul says things are going smoothly just like Kuji told them, so they should be able to easily infiltrate from the southern entrance. He tells 2G that he will open the shutter, and suddenly a blast happens on the rooftop above. Reika sends the message that according to the plan, both squads have started the diversion, so she tells both of them to quickly infiltrate the facility. While Raoul opens the shutter, our boy stands there thinking that it has finally started for real. As the shutter opens, Raoul tells him to take the lead and he will follow. Sirens go off and an emergency announcement is made in the facility that there is some suspicious activity and the security team should immediately move to the rooftop and the main gate. The researchers who are inside the facility panic and think about who would attack the organization's facility. As all the security is busy, 2G and Raoul quickly move through the hallways together. Raoul thinks that Reika and others are doing really well and wonders if all the security has moved to the rooftop and main gate as it is far too quiet. Suddenly 2G senses 4 enemies approaching, so he quickly moves to the corner and attacks them first. He knocks out the first one with a punch to the head, and others start to fire at him, but he quickly moves and also knocks them out with only one sharp punch. Raoul is surprised to see how fast he killed 4 enemies with just a knife, and he wonders how much he was holding back earlier when he fought them both. 2G tells him that the stairs are just ahead, and they should move quickly now. Watching all this on a monitor, Izumo says that they are infiltrating the facility with just 2 people, but they are quite strong as they defeated their enhanced assassins really easily. Meanwhile, Omega tells her that the guys look pretty delicious, and asks Izumo if he can do whatever he wants if he eliminates both of them, wanting freedom like everyone else. With a cheeky smile, Izumo agrees and tells him that the task assigned to him by Odin is to protect Avalon at all costs. He tells him that he would like to see his power, and if he does this then he will not only be officially recognized as a lance, but also become part of the 12 divine spears. After hearing that, Omega feels pumped up, because this is the very first time he will get to use his powers outside of an experiment, and he is also allowed to kill humans. On the other hand, Raoul tells our boy that they have to move as the enemies are coming, but he just stands there. While he tells him to move on, 2G stands there and says that this is the place solely designed to produce strong killers like him through inhumane experiments, so he will reject their twisted belief that the only method to change the world is by taking innocent lives. Avalon security is firing off, aiming to eliminate the intruders. Raoul aims and shoots an incoming soldier in his shin, knocking him off balance, but somehow this guy still doesn't go down, forcing Raoul to quickly use his trusty baton and slap the gun out of his hands. Next, this guy zaps the shit out of him. Raoul looks around, realizing that another dude is attempting to blow his brains off. But fear not, because our boy kicks the ever-living shit out of him and sends him flying. The situation is tense and security is overwhelming them. Kaido explains that they've got at least 6 more approaching from different directions. While they're discussing tactics to deal with the guards, this zesty ass-off brand mojito wraps up eating his buffet. Having received his direct order to stop the invasion, the Omega Lance bids farewell to Izumo. The guy literally slams a hole just to get to the lower level. Descending with enthusiasm, the masterpiece of the Avalon test subjects expresses his fascination for our boy's epic knife skills. He's dying to get his hands on Kaido, hoping for a worthy battle that will earn him his eventual freedom. Meanwhile, our duo is bursting full speed. Raul is out here getting dusted at the back thanks to Kaido's incredible speed. Bro doesn't even respond to his ass and recalls his memories of Avalon Lab. When he was a little boy, this badass killed a literal grizzly bear. Because of his training regimen, he only focused on cold and methodical killing. Kaido kicks the door open to arrive at the underground floor, the place where all the experiments are given birth, the cultivation room. But to our boy's shock, the place is vacant. This leads him to believe that most of the research documents have already been wiped or stolen. Raul thinks the same but argues that their enemies must have left in a hurry, which means they dropped a few hints behind. Suddenly, he looks up at the tube right in front of them in shock. A lingering body hangs, but it's already dead. This laboratory's filthy experiments are the demise of many humans. Viewing the information on the tube, they learn that the subject failed to control their emotions and were terminated in the process. Raul argues that he doesn't care about meaningless information like that, but suddenly Kaido shouts, as if he's seen something noteworthy. Raul darts towards him, realizing that the data servers are all active in the room. Kaido even points out the live terminal just hanging around. Using it, Raul becomes HackerMan69 and opens the folder regarding Fenrir's treasure. Dubbed Project Fenrir, Kaido realizes that they're moments away from learning about the details of the treasure. The file is opened, revealing information about a subject capable of high probability of divinity control. This subject's achievement rate is a brilliant 92.7%, and it is classified as a complete vessel. This tells us that Fenrir's treasure isn't just a weapon, it is capable of rewriting the world itself. But Kaito is skeptical of the data, and doesn't really understand why the compatibility factor is so off from before. Suddenly he realizes what's going on. Someone deliberately swapped the real data for a fake one. The person responsible was Akagi Gohei, the chairman of the company and Yuzua's father. Turns out he also had ties as a researcher at the company. Raul agrees with this explanation and extracts the data, assuring Kaido that they can leave as soon as it's downloaded. Our boy's too busy having his flashback, remembering how he and Hayate were specifically instructed that Chairman Akagi stole something from them. This means that the organization suspects whatever Akagi stole has to be related to his daughter. Kaito doesn't agree with their assumption, but the burning question is, who has Fenrir's seed? His fixation on the treasure causes Kaido to lose control over his brain, alarming Raul. Rationalizing his thoughts and stress, our boy realizes that he just sensed a godlike murderous intent coming from someone who is planning to kill them. Our boy basically says peace out and exits the room to chase after the threat, stunning Raul, who thinks it's reckless to act on his own. Kaito is genuinely unsettled by the feeling he had, and knows fully well that this being, whatever it is going to kill them unless he does something about it. When told to describe what he felt, Kaito responded that he can't even put the feeling into words. Raul speaks for all of us and questions if Kaito is on drugs or something. The door opens, but the location is completely vacant. Both of them wonder where they've been led to. Raul is cautious of the burning smell as both of them enter battle stance to defeat the enemy. A transmission plays, welcoming the members of Argos to the Avalon Lab's disposal grounds. Izumo announces his name and assures them that he's nothing more than a recorder and trusted manager of the disposal site. It's his playground, and he's amused by the performance of both invaders so far. Raul immediately fires back, questioning why Izumo casually let them steal the data. The manager is proud of their efforts for surviving the wrath of the facility so far, but also reveals a final surprise. The same feeling from before paralyzes Kaido. It's as if his body knows that whatever's coming is terrifying. Bro pushes Raul instinctively, who clearly doesn't know why Kaido did that, until Superman over here comes flying out of God knows where and destroys the ground. With how ridiculous that attempt was, Raul mocks the facility for making a literal dinosaur for fun. But the Omega Lance is most stunned of all. This crazy psychopath thought that he would have at least killed one of these guys. It confirms to off-brand Mojito that he's dealing with someone far beyond the likes of an ordinary soldier. Entering battle stance, our boy boldly questions his identity and asks if he's the one who led him all the way here. Surprised, the Omega Lance simply calls him an experimental test subject. Only recently he has become part of the 12 Divine Spears, which is seriously, and I mean seriously bad, because our boy has absolutely no information on this guy. Mojito announces himself as Gay Bolg of the organization, which reminds me of a specific Lancer with really bad luck in the Fate franchise. Anyway, freaky fuck over here wants to play rough with our boy, as Kaito gears up to face him. Collecting his thoughts, Kaito understands that Izumo was on the microphone earlier, but what bugs him the most is this wannabe cosplayer with a weird collar fetish. Walmart Mojito highlights that Omega is his actual literal name. At this point, you might be wondering who he replaced among the Divine Spears. Turns out bro is actually a fucking replicament for Gungear himself, which literally terrifies Kaito. The shocked look on our boy's face is amusing to the test subject, who can sense that his enemy knows about him. He finds it entertaining because it's his first time actually speaking to a human from the outside world. Omega has never interacted with any human aside from the ones in the facility, and treats humans as if they are different from what he is. It surprises him that billions of humans are out there living in the world, and he's dying to kill them all. At this point, Raoul is starting to point out some glaring problems. Their enemy is wide open and yet acting so relaxed. Omega even assures Raoul that if he wants to shoot him, he can, but his pathetic attempt with a gun won't amount to anything. Bro's villain speech doesn't end. He yaps on about enjoying the present moment. Omega lifts his foot and slams it into the ground, raising a cloud of smoke that disrupts Raoul's vision, nullifying his attack. Our boy shouts at him to retreat for his own safety, but it's pointless because he can't even hear what he just said. Suddenly, a fist comes flying out of nowhere and smashes Raoul with a jab. While Omega is distracted, Kaido creeps up with a killing presence. The new lance barely escapes his ferocious slashes. Omega slides away before leaping back in with incredible speed, barely missing Kaido. He even praises our boy for his impressive moves, but so far the fight is just an amusement to him. Meanwhile, Raoul is pissed the hell off and still not going down. Temu Mahito calls him dead weight basically and thinks Kaido is the real threat among them. The one thing that bothers Omega is Kaido himself. He calls out our boy for holding back, even when he could have dealt the killing blow in his previous move. The same goes for his fight against the soldiers, where he simply disarmed and knocked them out without killing. It intrigues the test subject, whose murderous intuition is so sharp that he can sense that Kaido has killed infinitely more than even a monster like him. The revelation stuns our boy, while Omega moves in to catch him with a karate chop. Though our boy evaded, he still got grazed by the speedy blow. Budget Mahito returns with another attempt, but suddenly boom, his mouth is stabbed open. Raoul is no longer kidding around and wants to end this guy for good. Unleashing the full fury of his electric baton, Bro zaps the shit out of this guy with the power of Zeus. But even after all of that, Omega casually gives him the feat, drop-kicking him to the nearest wall. To Omega, this much voltage is basically ticklish. He's dealt with far worse in the facility, but not worse than Kaido, who returns back in with a clean slash. Omega maintains his distance, laughing at the situation. He wasn't able to escape unscathed, and praises the scent of murder that reeks from Kaido and his blade. With how sus this guy is acting, I wonder which blade he's talking about at this point. He thinks that Kaido is someone who fights for justice, to protect the weak, and yet his body is filled with the opposite experience. Our boy internalizes that he's dealing with a scary opponent here, right on the level of the divine spears. The worst part is Omega's mentality. He's literally fucked in the head with the idea of causing demolition and destruction of humanity. Someone as chaotic as him can't be deciphered, and it's troublesome for Kaido to even try. The masterpiece of the Avalon Lab assures his opponent that despite his strength, if Kaido is going to hold back his killing intent, he's going to be defeated. That blade is pointless if it doesn't stab him in the heart. Keep in mind that while he's saying this, Bro literally cuts open the sewed part of his flesh to reveal his organs. Omega lunges forth to go on the offensive, his body pouring out blood from his self-inflicted injury. Wearing the happiest smile, he aims to punch Kaido in the face, who admits that he's dealing with someone incredibly powerful. But as powerful as Omega is, he's a child deep down. So much so that our boy easily weaves the punch without having to move his body. The punch is so strong that it leaves a crater from the impact, but it also traps Omega from moving, sealing his own fate. Kaido uses this opportunity to flip the situation over its head, sharing that he's dealing with a beast with imperfect movements. He's dead confident of his victory now, and his blade unleashes chaos against Omega's flesh, ripping it on all critical parts of the body. Finally, Kaido deals a thrusting punch to his abdomen, smacking him into the wall. Omega bursts out a blood vomit, having endured dozens of injuries in the short span of time. Despite this amazing combo, Kaido shares that Omega's endurance is on another level, but even then he landed an attack so powerful that he disabled his opponent, buying them enough time to run off. But the fight's not over, because Omega casually gets back up and praises our boy in a mocking tone. He's dying to know how Kaido managed to unlock Ultra Instinct and dodge his initial punch. Our boy senses a tremendously terrifying feeling swelling from within. He then sees Omega's body healing back up, as if he never even sustained an injury. The new lance reminds him of his earlier tip to stab him in the heart, as his body's capable of complete regeneration. Watching this outcome, Izumo laughs at our boy's astonishment. The subject known as Omega is the final product of the experimentation at Avalon. He's the most bizarre, the only person with godlike regeneration abilities and a personality. Enjoying their demise, Izumo wonders how the agents of Argos are planning to defeat such an unbeatable opponent. Our boy doesn't take L's, so he's back up for round 2. Raoul is basically useless, cursing himself for being helpless against a literal monster. Ignoring Reika's earlier warning to not go full power, Raoul decides to use his trump card and whips out a serum called NTF. He then plugs it into his neck, catching Kaido's attention. Bro literally took steroids and instantly acquired a Mr. Olympia physique. The compound known as the neurotissue fusion enhancer is codenamed Overdrive, a catalyst for one to go beyond human limits. Yellow aura emanates from his body, as Raul's new transformation stuns our boy and deeply amazes Omega. Right as he's yapping again, Raul literally freaking slams a punch in his mouth, shattering his teeth and knocking him into the wall with a thunderous crash. Without sparing him even a second to reclaim himself, Raul stampedes ahead with a powerful kick, hitting Omega so hard in the chest that he gushes out vomit and cries in pain. Raul emphasizes that he's going to use this kind of power to annihilate the evil organization for good, and saying so he unleashes Saitama's 1,000 serious punches. Let's discuss what Overdrive mode is really about. This drug gives you power at the cost of your life, allowing you to become unstoppable for 10 minutes. Raul has bad blood against the organization, having lost all his dear loved ones because of them. He charges with ferocity, hammering every punch to avenge them. Izumo is most impressed by this sudden, yet destructive transformation. The thing is, it's not your average steroid. This one is instant, one that fuses muscle fibers with nerve fibers, allowing the brain to deploy instant commands. The whole thing is ironic, coming from Argos, which is an organization that clearly spouts the values of justice, and yet it seems that they too are experimenting in their own manner. Izumo doesn't care, he's just amused by the outcome, and wonders how long a human with no limits will last against a literal god. Raul continues to bash Omega, allowing Kaido to sweep right in and exploit the opening he has. Once again, he slices down a dozen slashes all across Omega's body, though none are fatal. Raul screams and shouts at him to get away. His punch ends up missing its target as Omega escapes to the side. He gains some distance and still laughs, despite his eyes gouged out, his face cut up, and his body slashed over. One would be terrified to be in his position. But Omega simply recovers all his wounds thanks to his godlike instant regeneration skills. Raul, on the other hand, thinks that he'll still win the fight. His intention is to keep slaughtering Omega until he can no longer heal. Even Kaido's analysis of him proves that he's not immortal. Then there's the earlier suggestion of Omega pointing out his heart as his weak spot. Even though it seems easy and simple, our boy thinks that something's off, as if their opponent is playing with them. When Raul charges again to strike, the newest Lance smiles. Just when our boy recommends Raul to pull back, it's too late because Omega somehow evades the attack. Temu Mahito is ecstatic to have found an easy way to dodge, and instantly after begins to dodge every single attack coming from Raul. Keep in mind, he was getting bulldozed before, and now he stuns Raul by connecting a solid blow on his abs. The punch is so devastating that it leaves Raul staggered, as he begins to question what the hell happened. Exploiting him further, Omega attempts to elbow Raul in the face while he's distracted. But our boy chimes in with his instant knife work, stopping Omega before punching him all the way back and knocking him down. Despite Raul's overdrive state, he gets a reality check that his opponent may have been holding back this entire time. But our boy's got a different opinion. Kaido reveals just how scary Omega's adaptability truly is. So far, this guy has been learning and absorbing their fighting styles, copying their techniques at an alarming rate. Just like always, the masterpiece of the Avalon Lab gets right back up, belittling humans for using cute things like weapons and martial arts. He points out the irony of mankind for always spouting the ideals of justice, and at the same time inventing brutal ways to kill each other all the same. Raul thinks Bro's message is deep, while Kaido understands where Omega is coming from. It's the very reason he wants to end the Great Will organization, despite having served as a part of it. No longer will the greatest assassin allow needless deaths to pile up. His optimistic words stun Raul, who really understands now that the godlike Gungnir has a soft side after losing someone he cared about. Kaido establishes a new plan, fully confident that they'll lose at the current rate. With the way their opponent is adapting to every single move, Omega's only going to get stronger. In the end, he's going to become aimbot and start shooting them. Then there's the fact that Kaido's own ability to see his opponent's moves won't last beyond a couple of minutes. If he exhausts himself out and goes down, they're both cooked for life, because ain't no way Mr. Steroids is going to clutch this fight then. Even Raul understands that his drug is wearing off, which means they're caught in a pinch with very little options to spare. Kaido outlines the only way to their victory. Interestingly, our boy tells Raul to match Omega's movements according to his instructions. He trusts Raul's ability to pull off this scary stunt, which Raul takes as a sign of great respect. This time, Kaido will lead while Raul will follow. Both of them are ready for another round, while their opponent laughs while holding his injured arm. He bullies them for having stupid ideas, and urges the hopeless humans to be honest with their fate. Bursting into maniacal laughter, Omega claims that these humans are desperate to go insane. The crazy thing is that he literally cuts off his own arm and takes full enjoyment, treating it as his new weapon from now on. Raul is blinded by Omega's blinding technique, but luckily our boy has already predicted his next move. Raul ducks following Kaito's command, evading the heavy blow, but the same attack ends up hurting our boy instead. His adaptability is on a whole different level, but Kaido knows there's a shot of them winning this fight. Omega has lost the plot, Bro doesn't even care and thinks victory is in his grasp in a single clean hit. Raul is waiting for Kaido's instructions, knowing what's coming, but our boy tells him to stay put. Changing targets, Omega starts attacking Kaido, overwhelming him with a series of blows. Right when the lance is about to deal his definitive blow, Kaido roars, commanding Raul to act now. The smoke concealed Raul's presence, and he bursts out of it to not only stop Omega, but also connect a clean hit to his jaw. The punch sends his freaky ass flying to space like Team Rocket. In fact, that punch was so hard that it wound up with his neck shattering. Raul wonders how he did, Kaido praises him. All of a sudden, their team-up seems unstoppable, and it is evident that they will cut Omega down for good. Omega laughs, expressing his shock and surprise while clutching his arm. He'd never expected them to work together to exploit him like this. He learns that his sword, which was basically his arm, is actually giving him a disadvantage. Naturally, this man goes even more batshit crazy and freaking pulls out a damn rib from his body. Bro basically made his own custom karambit skin. Raul is creeped out, highlighting how this dude is a literal monster for casually plucking out his rib. But Kaido is laser-focused, instructing him to target Omega's right while he'll attack from the other side. Following those instructions, both of them split up in a declaration to defeat the lance. Omega is put in a dilemma, not knowing what he should do against his opponents. Identifying Raul as the main target, he swings in his direction. Kaido instantly senses that the lance is way faster than Raul, and barely roars at his teammate to dodge. Luckily, Omega only managed to slice his collar but didn't get a major wound in. This also allows Kaido to sweep right in, exploiting the opening and cutting open Omega. While he's still distracted, our boy orders Raul to hammer this fucker with a heavy knee. With how hard Omega is getting smashed here, I would call the police for harassment. The lance is literally getting his shit whacked as Kaido lunges up in the air and becomes messy, scoring a powerful kick shooting the goal. Even while being clobbered left and right, Omega laughs. He's ecstatic. He takes pride in being unable to feel hurt. But then something happens. An ounce of worry slips in his mind. That same regeneration that he so easily relied upon became slower and weaker. His wounds are heavy, Kaito and Raul are on the offensive again. Omega is cornered, but decides to pull a new trick. Our boy instantly senses it thanks to his own power, while Raul ducks the rib. The weapon misses both of them, and Kaido steers in for a burning knee kick in the face. Yikes, that's a fighter's worst nightmare. Keeping up the momentum, Kaido slashes him like a kebab and orders Raul to pin this insect to the ground. The takedown strategy impresses Izumo, who praises their teamwork. But something else is going on too. Despite Omega's perfect adaptation, the real problem comes in the form of Kaido Fujiwara, the mastermind, who is manipulating both Raul and his opponent to create a dominating strategy. Izumo is starting to question the knife user's identity, finding it monstrous in its own way. One more detail stands out to him. The knife user's blade resembles a certain assassin's weapon. Connecting the dots, he realizes what's going on. Just from that realization alone, Izumo understands that this fight will be difficult for Omega, who isn't trained in real-world combat yet. The lance is getting overwhelmed as Raul and Kaido deal the decisive cross-slash, nuking his ass in epic bromance. Now, Omega's confidence has been smashed to pieces. He's cut up, slashed down, physically creeping in pain. Raul panics, worried that this guy might regenerate fully again. But our boy already knows that this fight's in their favor. This guy's regeneration has slowed down incredibly. What's left is to finish him with a final swing. But then Kaido notices something. Omega refuses to quit, his body regenerating what it can. He is thrilled to experience the killing instinct of our boy finally come to light, even declaring it his true form. Raul doesn't get the point of his rambling, especially when he's in a shitty state. Now I don't know about you guys, but I'm practically begging these guys to kill him before he regenerates. Omega shares his origin story, how he was created for the sole purpose of killing. The researchers became proud of him, but only for his killing intent. In the eyes of the facility, he's a failure if he is unable to execute his only purpose. That kind of fear, that despair culminates into his self-worth. He must kill to continue living. At the same time, Omega literally gives up. Bro openly tells Kato to finish him off, accepting himself as the inferior killing machine than someone compared to our boy. Raul speaks for all of us and says that this dude is endlessly yapping to regenerate again. But Kaido, in typical main character style, declares that he won't kill Omega. The look on Raul's face is the look on my face right now. Bro literally pisses off Raul so much that he lectures Kaido for feeling sorry in the heat of the moment. Letting someone like Omega continue living means endangering the lives of others. But Kaido reasons that off-brand mojito is just a weapon being used by the organization, not any different from what Gungnir or Tuji used to be. A being forced to kill. However, in his own life, Kaido learned through the loss of his beloved girlfriend that killing isn't always the answer. He also faced this realization after he learned that he killed Yuzuha's father in that final mission. The once godlike assassin no longer wishes to live through that again. Omega is stumped, while Izumo is stunned. He wasn't expecting things to get so amusing at the end. One of the researchers quickly informs the manager about Omega's defeated condition. There's no way he will survive any longer, so it's best to retrieve the test subject by sending reinforcements. However, Izumo refuses to do anything to help him. Instead, he calls it the end of the game as well as the end of the line for Omega. They've already extracted all important data. Ordering a complete abandonment of the facility, Izumo presses the big red scary button that is supposed to blow up things in movies. Kaito somehow senses this because Bro has many future sight hacks. He urges Raoul to retreat, sensing that the lab is about to blow up to Kingdom Come. Explosions start to follow, shaking the ground and splattering debris all over the dump site. Turns out that these researchers were methodical in their exit strategy and planted bombs underground. Everything is about to get Hiroshimaed like it's never even existed at this point. Raoul turns to Kaito and grabs him like no big deal. While they're making their exit, Omega's fleeting and defeated voice calls out Kaito's name. For some reason, he's smiling like a psychopath still, mumbling words as the place collapses on him completely. Outside, the people of the facility are quickly evacuated. Meanwhile, Reika senses trouble and knows that this isn't just an earthquake. Having detected an abnormal level of heat emanating from underground, she fears for Raoul's life. The building explodes to smithereens. A few seconds earlier, before the massive explosion, Omega thought about Kaito Fujiwara, an anomaly for an assassin who refused to finish him off. He expressed such distaste for killing to the point that it forces Omega to think about the purpose of his own life. He was the ultimate killing machine, and Kaito defeated him while hating his killing intent. Questions bothered the abandoned Lance as the debris hugged him. In the next scene, we see Kaito and Raoul channeling their inner Usain Bolt to run like hell. Our boy senses something again, and realizes that Omega's life presence is now undetectable, implying that he really died. Pissed off, Raoul grabs our boy for worrying about something so pointless when their own lives are in danger here. Bro, I think Raoul is my favorite character. W for him in the comments. Anyway, his reality check puts Kaito back to his senses, and they continue their escape. A problem emerges in the form of having too many paths. They have to think on their feet and choose the right exit. Luckily, Kaito's senses kick in, and he tells his homeboy to follow him. They're dashing on their way back thanks to Kaito memorizing the path. Raoul's words from earlier are actually starting to knock some sense into our boy. He knows more than ever that his real goal is to crush the organization and protect Yuzuha, who is in critical danger for possessing the sacred treasure. Luckily, they reach the exit. Kaito demands Raoul to unlock it quickly. Instead of using a key, Bro literally comes charging at the door like it owes him debt, and he tackles it open. His impressive strength stuns Kaito because that wasn't an easy door to smash into. However, the effects of Raoul's overdrive mode start to show up and pile on him. He's bleeding from his face and gasping for breath. Still, they have no time to rest as the explosions are catching up to them. Kaito helps his dear friend. They're only moments away from escaping. It's the final stride. Desperation clings the former assassin. He extends his hand and refuses to die. Then we return to Reika's side of things, who is stopped by one of the soldiers for charging right in. The place is reduced to a cloud of smoke. The facility has been leveled before their eyes. Just when she thinks she's lost both her friends, their silhouette appears. Kaito walks out with Raoul, begging them to help. He puts Raoul on the ground, assuring them that the homeboy is alive. He's just knocked out because of the draining effects of the drug. Reika is really happy that both of them made it out in one piece. And yes, again, the one piece is real. Kaito cuts to the chase and asks her about the status of the data. Luckily, Reika was able to collect everything, resulting in the success of their mission. Hearing those words, our protagonist smiles and faints on top of her. His exhaustion finally caught up to him. While Reika is busy worrying about his state, one of her men informs about the incoming helicopter. They're to head over to the extraction point, with Reika intending to carry him on his back. She's intrigued by Avalon's goals, as they were investing so much time into their lab research, and yet they blew it all up like it didn't even matter. It worries her that the Great Will organization has even scarier goals than they can let on. The helicopter takes them away safely. Underneath the rubble, a charred Omega emerges, shocked to find himself alive. The only thing he cares about now is his fat crush on Kaito Fujiwara, and it seems that we're going to be seeing this guy return very soon. Meanwhile, the man of the hour is dead asleep. Back at Kuji's laboratory, the doctor is informed that 12% of the retrieved data was damaged and corrupted. Kuji doesn't care and checks on the details of the seed of Fenrir. Just like he suspected the data entered here, it's linked to a code of human genetics. From his personal findings about the research facility, Kuji learned that the seed of Fenrir is basically a genetic code of a powerful being, the Great Will organization and its leader Odin. Their plans are radical and sinister. The goal? The creation of a god, as Kuji horrifically puts it. In the next scene, Izumo returns to Yashima of the 12 Divine Spears to outline his report. Just like they intended, the Avalon lab has been demolished, and they've intentionally leaked information to Argos. It seems like these guys have cooked up a 200 IQ play of their own. Yashima asks about the state of the test subject and learns about Omega's ultimate defeat, despite his interesting development. They also discovered Omega's incredible adaptation and regenerating ability against dozens of attacks. Be that as it may, Izumo argues that Omega's personality is the worst part about him. Yashima is disappointed, realizing that they've yet to create a true god. To them, Omega is just an imitation for their real goal. Izumo also reveals the identities of the two assailants from Argos' side. He opens Raoul's tab, highlighting the overdrive drug from Argos' side. Even their enemy organization is using experimentation, to the point Raoul's body became powerful enough to stand against the masterpiece of Avalon. But then Yashima notices a critical detail. He doesn't even care about the white-haired punk. Instead, his eyes are stunned by the knife pattern. Izumo assures him that he was just about to bring that up. Thanks to facial recognition technology, they've uncovered the identity of the boy. It's Fujiwara Kaido, the same schoolboy who is friends with Yuzuha, and the same person who annihilated Sanjo. Assimilating all of these facts, Izumo declares his bold statement, comparing Kaido's abilities to that of Tuji of Gungnir, the ultimate assassin. However, Yashima doesn't fathom how that's possible. The former assassin is dead, but Izumo argues that somehow Gungnir has found his way into Kaido's body. His suspicion is that there was a traitor from within the organization, someone who collected Tuji's body and led him to Argos. Yashima also remembers there being a recent betrayal at the facility. They're both skeptical of the traitor, as Izumo suggests they pay a personal visit to this person. Yashima thinks that it's high time they pay a visit to a certain individual, the same man who killed his own best friend Tuji. He orders him to Izumo to summon Hayate, who is currently busy playing with his pistol, as if he knows what's coming. Hayate is chilling in the office room in the very next scene. Izumo thanks him for his fast arrival, politely requesting an important conversation. Hayate doesn't like Izumo's formal tone and begs him to just get on with it. Yashima starts off by talking about the order that was assigned to him by Odin. The most important assassination mission of all, to kill Tuji the Gungnir. With piercing eyes, he questions whether Hayate completed the mission or botched it. Hayate casually admits that he finished off Tuji for good, and Izumo even praises him for it. The main problem being Kaido Fujiwara. Izumo shows Hayate footage of the boy facing off Omega, wielding the same knife that Gungnir used. Hayate finds it ironic that a corpse is swinging his blade again, as if he never even takes the idea of Tuji coming back to life seriously. Izumo reveals that Kaido is someone close to Yuzuha, the same daughter whose father was murdered by Hayate and Tuji in their final mission. Even Akatsuki, the one who was sent after to deal with this seemingly average boy, went missing. Then the Avalon research facility was invaded. Omega was utterly demolished and the facility blew up. Lots of damage was caused. Sarcastically, Izumo mocks Hayate for suggesting that he killed Kaido, when in reality, it appears that Hayate helped him escape instead. The tone shifts. The same playful Hayate is now dead serious. Removing all ambiguity, he questions them for implying that he's a traitor. Izumo laughs it off, acting like that isn't his intention. He understands that an assassin of Hayate's level, one only second to Tuji, isn't gonna botch a mission like that. The only problem is, he was good friends with Gungnir, best friends even. Hearing this tone coming from Izumo, Hayate declares the one and only truth. The truth where he himself disposed of Gungnir, the traitor of great will. Unleashing a hint of his killing intent, Hayate sarcastically challenges Izumo to be prepared for the consequences of his words if his allegations are so accurate. You can just see Izumo's "oh shit, I'm about to get fucked" face. Yashima saves Izumo from getting his ass kicked and confirms the facts of the situation. Hayate apologizes and mocks them for trying to dispose of him the same way they disposed of Tuji. Yashima instead gives Hayate an alternative. To prove his loyalty to the organization's cause, he has once again chosen to kill Fujiwara Kaito, or in this case, Gungnir again. This time, Yashima doesn't want Hayate to play any games, and that he brings the corpse back to the organization instead of letting it be. In the next scene, Hayate is on a rooftop, annoyed by the recent affairs. Entering his hideout, he sits down. But immediately, the expert assassin calls out the person who secretly snuck in his house. It's Akatsuki, who had been waiting for a while. He's shocked that Hayate is using a dumpster like this as his hideout. Hayate is stunned too. He'd heard that Kaito likely killed Akatsuki, which is why he went missing. Turns out he's alive and well. He inquires about his intentions, to which Akatsuki responds by first putting Tuji and Hayate's relationship into perspective. They were the best of friends, loyal to each other to the end. The only thing that pisses him off the most is that Hayate executed Odin's order against his own friend. Akatsuki threatens Hayate to force an answer out of him, dubbing him Trishula, Hayate of the Divine Spears. The elite lance doesn't conclude a proper answer, but reveals that unlike Gungnir, Odin holds the literal power to manipulate the entire world. The assassins are nothing more than an instrument for him to achieve his goals. Hayate also reminds Akatsuki of his own mission to kill Kaido Fujiwara, yet surprisingly, instead of succeeding in his mission, Akatsuki showed up to Hayate's doorstep. Deeming him a traitor to Odin's cause, Hayate pulls out a gun and conspires to terminate Akatsuki for his negligence. We're brought to an interesting close as the scene transitions to Tuji's past. Back when they were both kids, Hayate and him would come up to the rooftop alongside a certain figure. This man would bring them here to help them show the world for what it was. It was quiet, and despite everything going down on the streets, nothing could be felt at the top. Hayate adored high spots, but Tuji felt afraid of heights. The man told them that fear was proof of their existence. However, if one succumbs to it, it can blind you from the things that are important. The man always questioned why humans were cursed to repeat the same mistakes over and over again. Wars and the pillars of hatred. Despite humanity possessing reasoning and logic, they still committed the worst atrocities. The advancement of technology is clearer than ever, but the people, they're still immature. Tuji didn't know what that meant, but Hayate caught on and always believed in the mission of Odin, thinking that they were the good guys. The man cherished them both, reminding the children that they must forcibly awaken the immature people into evolution. This figure promised them that they were going to be the ones to achieve that goal. That fond memory rings in Kaido's mind, and he wakes up thinking about the same person. His parents are there, lucky to see the boy waking up. They were worried like hell, but thankfully Raoul fed them a cover story like an expert manipulator. Instead of revealing that they went around survived a fucking nuke, he told them that Kaido just fell unconscious at the campsite because of high fever. Our boy feels a strain in his head, realizing that he fainted again. Bro is an actual Pokemon at this point. He apologizes to his parents for making them worry, but his mother can sense his unease and worriedly asks if he's truly okay. The boy's father butts in, interrupting the conversation. He reminds Kaido that if he ever feels stressed about something, he can always discuss it with his parents. Our boy thanks them, and the two eventually exit the building. Raoul watches them and even assures Kaido that he's got two good parents. Disappointedly, Kaido corrects him that they're not his parents. But at the same time, he feels genuinely terrible each time he abuses Kaido's body to its limits. Raoul assures him that Kaido's notion of a peaceful life is annihilated, now that he's going up against the Great Will. Thankfully, the hospital is under direct control of Argos with impeccable security. Raoul understands fully well that 2G's real identity must have found its way to the other side. He recommends Kaido to rest and take a few days off, as this will ease his parents' discomfort too. But our boy is currently contemplating the research that took place at Avalon. He was ignorant of it all this time. It physically strains him to even think about what that man, Odin, the leader of the organization, is trying to do. In the next scene, an explosion erupts, so ferocious that it causes the masses to run in fear. Hayate laughs, praising Akatsuki for his ability to push him to such an extent. He watches his place burn as the bomb went off with just the right firepower to take Hayate down. Though Akatsuki escaped this encounter successfully, Hayate's message to 2G is now clear. It mentally bothers Hayate remembering 2G's honest words to live a normal life, betraying his legacy as an assassin. Hayate can't stand the fact that he betrayed Odin not once, but twice. Even now, Hayate isn't intending to stop him, and instead declares his intention to kill 2G once and for all. In the next scene, Hayate welcomes his crew for arriving. He's gathered a bunch of expert assassins to help him on this mission. Yakushi is Lance number 16, and thinks that this job is something highly important to require their assistance. Kashima, Lance 18, is thrilled to fight the all-powerful Gungnir. Iwashimizu is a loyal subordinate, who is ready to follow any orders necessary under Hayate's control. Finally, there's Eiji Narita, or as I would like to call it, Temu Hisoka. Yakushi starts off by confirming the mission status. What bothers him is why they're fixated on a boy called Fujiwara Kaido when the assassination mission is titled The Elimination of Gungnir. Hayate confirms that he is, assuring them that this job is highly critical and has Odin's will going for it. Even more, it's unfinished business on his part. Yashima instructed him to return with the corpse this time, so Hayate's hellbent on finishing his job. The crew aura farms under the command of 2G's killer, as Hayate declares the start of the elimination mission that will end in Kaido's demise. Meanwhile, our boy is having bad dreams in the hospital bed, barely being able to recover from his strain. Day 2 of hospitalization comes around, except Kaido's deep in agony. Having rested for an entire day hasn't changed the condition of his headache. It is also paired with a sudden sensation of unease. Bro knows he's about to get jumped at the hospital. Raoul pries for his attention, nagging him for looking dead. Kaido explains that the headache hasn't subsided, and likely resulted as a consequence of him abusing his power at the Avalon. It's also the fact that he read the attack patterns of two people at the same time, forcing an even harsher strain. Raoul doesn't really understand what he's trying to get at, but fully knows that Kaido's down for the count in his present condition. The problem is, his own overdrive drug caused him a similar backlash, so they're both resting. The good thing about this hospital is that every single staff member is an employed member of Argos. They've been specifically assigned just to protect Kaito, so he doesn't have anything or anyone to worry about anymore. Kaito suspiciously mocks him for calling a hospital a safe location, but Raoul emphasizes that these people are the real deal. After his silence, Kaito switches to a different topic, confessing about the dream he shared of Odin. Odin is a figure that he saw well over 10 years ago, the same being that created the Great Will organization. Raoul is curious about his mystifying personality and probes Kaito for an answer. Recalling his memories as Tuji, Kaito calls him a father figure who would take enjoyment in speaking of an ideal world. But in general, he was strict yet kind. This is shocking to Raoul, who can't comprehend how the greatest threat to the planet is actually a kind person deep down. Kaito doubles down and emphasizes that Odin treated them really well. The children at least loved him. From his implication, it's clear that those children became the assassins of the organization. Raoul wonders if the friend Tuji saw in his dream followed a similar path. Remembering Hayate's face, Kaito despairingly agrees. He highlights their unique bond, always backing each other as true friends. That is until the fucker murdered his wife and used that opportunity to kill Tuji too. Raoul thinks it's a pretty brutal plot twist, because contrasting his own loving family, Tuji's father and best friend became villains. The unsettling feeling gets worse for Kaito. Ever since he tapped into that dream, his body has been reacting strangely. It's as if he knows that his next encounter will lead to a loss of an irreplaceable person in his life. The dark conversation takes a turn with Yuzuha suddenly bursts to the scene with a beaming smile. Her sudden entry isn't one of happiness but of despair to Kaito, because this means she's in clear danger. Yuzuha casually shares that she went to his house and learned about his hospitalized state. Kawai, Yuzuha's assistant, tries to ask about Raoul's identity, but my homie literally grabs him and takes him outside the room. He knows the bro code and even teases Kaito not to do anything freaky in the hospital. Yuzuha stumbles, flushed to hear those words, but Kaito's worried and directly asks her why she came. To her, this is a weird question. One look on his face is enough to alarm Yuzuha about our boy's pathetic state. She urges him to rest, but Kaito explodes. He roars at her defiantly, commanding her to go home immediately. This sudden tone, this explosive reaction is something that baffles everyone in the room. Yuzuha questions why he's reacting like this, only for Kaito to continue stating the cold, hard reality. She was kidnapped only a week ago, and there are people out there in the world looking for her. Kaito thinks it's foolish of her to put her life at risk just to pay him a visit. He also insinuates not being able to enjoy her presence. Yuzuha reacts just as explosively, objecting that she has her own will to do whatever she wants, and that she's worried sick for him. But our boy is entering straight nonchalant territory right now. He literally drills it through her skull that he doesn't care about her concerns. Adopting an even angrier, authoritative tone, Kaito orders her to go home at once. Yuzuha is literally crushed and agrees in the end. She calls herself an idiot for being ungrateful of his help all this time, and even thinks that she's an obstacle to his peace. Leaving, Yuzuha departs with saddening words, assuring him that she won't visit again. Inside, Kaito is crushed but doesn't want to admit the same. His logic is telling him that it's the best course of action to create distance. Kawai worriedly reaches out to his master and follows suit, while Raoul quickly catches up to Kaito and asks why he pushed away the one person that he likes the most. Our boy emphasizes that the organization won't stay down, and that's why he wants to protect Kaito Fujiwara's relationships with the people by keeping them far away. He even instructs Raoul to place security on both families. Raoul assures him that it's already underway, but he's sad to share Yuzuha's pathetic state. She put on a brave face, but she was sobbing on the way out. And the next thing you know, she's being targeted by a sniper confirming her identity in the building. The sniper informs his team about her exact coordinates, as well as revealing Kaito's floor level. With that information, Yakushi instructs Iwashimizu to keep watch. He and Narita will be going passive. The big guy is dying to face Gungear and kill him before Hayate's arrival, while Narita is busy tracking each person's movements. He informs the group about the secret Argos agents, which means every single one of them is an enemy. Their mission is made 10 times easier now that Yuzuha is here, as she can be used as bait. Iwashimizu is told to contact Hayate and inform him that their mission has officially begun. The grim feeling reaches its way to Kaito with another sharp strain, so hard that Raoul tries to call a doctor. This time, the feeling is overwhelming him. Kaito senses 4 elite-level assassins coming this way. Their killing intents are crystal clear, and they're moments away from invading. Raoul is stumped in shock because Yuzuha still hasn't left the hospital, making her an easy target for the organization. The pain gets so bad for Kaito that his brain literally bleeds from his scar. Hayate is en route and learns about Kaito's confirmed position at the hospital. With each team member carefully placed in designated locations, their mission is underway. Iwashimizu assures them that he will cover them by sniping long range. Hayate reminds the sniper to be sharp on his toes, as they're dealing with the most capable assassin the world has ever known. Even if Tuji is no longer in his original physique, his skills can't be taken lightly. Hayate ends the call, pointing out the irony of how fate led the two of them for yet another encounter. He assures Tuji that he'll kill him by himself. Meanwhile, our boy is currently fighting the hardest headache known to mankind, entrusting Raoul to protect Yuzuha while he's down. He begs him to go check up on her, as he'll be fine on his own. Raoul turns tail and assures Kaido to worry about himself. Right now his brain is bleeding, but Kaido's ready to fight, hoping that Yuzuha is unharmed. That day, the hospital experienced its first tragedy. 30 Argos soldiers who were guarding the first floor lobby area were struck with fear. Never before had they encountered something of this level, even after their intense combat training. This was the killing intent of an elite assassin, boasting enough ability to paralyze an opponent. The two who entered the hospital immediately ordered these men to surrender, as they will all be treated as an enemy without exception. The Red Lance points his blade, assuring them all that he doesn't even want to give them time to surrender. The Big Brute, on the other hand, is pumped to kill them, taking joy in witnessing their fighting spirit. All members of Argos immediately whip out their guns. However, it's already too late. Moving with impeccable speed, the Red Lance draws first blood. But that's not all. With a single stride, he has effortlessly dismantled dozens in his way. The rest of them try to shoot down the musclehead, who can somehow block bullets with lightning speed all at once. This guy is a beast. A single one of his punches is enough to knock down multiple people like they were nothing. The hospital signals the arrival of 2 intruders, urging for immediate backup. The other members prepare themselves, shocked to discover that the Great Will organization is launching a direct assault. While they were busy plotting to contact their main headquarters, Temu Hisoka came up aura farming with a kunai knife and killed them. Some of the doctors sense that their enemies have made their way to the hospital ward, but again, it's just too late. This Muzan plus Hisoka plus Itachi guy effortlessly dismantles them. His goal is to infiltrate quietly, killing the Argos members while they're distracted by the 2 at the front door. His goal is to kill Kaido as fast as possible on his own. Finally, there's the sniper, who is watching everything go down. Their plan is proceeding smoothly, thanks to the Argos soldiers being far inferior in comparison to their skill. Iwashimizu focuses his attention back to Yuzuha, observing her every move. Our girl is out here recovering from the verbal assault she ate from Kaido. Kawai assures her that he was just disturbed because of his hospitalized state and even recommends they bring Kaido his favorite food. But in reality, she'd never seen this side of him before. He was angry, and it felt like he was someone completely different. A sudden gunshot startles Yuzuha, while Kawai turns around to question what's going on. From the hallway comes running Raoul, who sprinted his way here just to check on Yuzuha's state. The girl is confused and doesn't know about his intentions. All she remembers is that this guy was hovering in Kaido's room. Raoul pulls her, emphasizing that they can't go down as terrorists have invaded the hospital. The sudden announcement paralyzes Kawai and terrifies Yuzuha, but Raoul doesn't have any time to explain details. Right now his mission is to drag her ass to safety upstairs. Unfortunately, their enemies are already here. Both of the assassins from the first floor have left behind a bloodbath on their way here. The big guy questions if they found Kaido, while the Red Lance gives them an ultimatum. All they care about is Yuzuha, and they're even ready to spare the 2 men in exchange. Witnessing their bloodied exterior, the ordinary Yuzuha questions if she's seeing actual blood on their bodies. Questions boggle her mind, but right now isn't the time for them. Raoul steps up to protect her. The big guy loves his style, finally discovering someone who can go head-to-head with him with straight hands. He's pumped and tells Yakushi to basically fuck off. The Red Lance excludes himself from the match, while the big guy charges at our homeboy. Homeboy is afraid to take on someone so big and strong. He can't even use his trusty drug anymore as its overuse is forbidden by Argos. Right now, Raoul is nerfed, and on top of that he's got to deal with an elite-level lance. Kaido's words spring to his mind. His only wish was for him to protect Yuzuha while he gathered himself. Raoul is in a serious pinch, but hopes to carry out this promise for his buddy. With that, he lunges with all of his fury. Let's go back and revisit our boy, who is barely making his way around the hospital. Can't even walk without assisting himself as his head literally bulldozes him with a crushing strain. Even with that, he perseveres for Yuzuha's state. Suddenly, Kaido senses a bunch of shuriken coming from behind. Despite his injured state, he manages to dodge them just in time, enduring a minor injury on his back. The shurikens are lodged into the wall, while their user is utterly baffled by how weak the almighty Gungnir appears to be. Narita introduces himself properly, readying a blade with a chain in hand. He intends to terminate Kaido Fujiwara for good, but many have said that before, and all of them have failed against this beast. The former legendary assassin is pissed and urges Narita to get out of his way while he still can. Circling back to Raoul, bro is not looking good at all. He's coughing blood after enduring heavy punches from the big guy, who even praises Raoul for having the gall to take all of those hits. He's never had someone take so many hits from him and still live. Raoul's face is gonna need a plastic surgery, but don't let that distract you from the fact that Omega was way stronger than this guy. It's just that his opponent's martial arts technique is in a league of its own. Thanks to those hardened gauntlets, fighting him is a pain in the ass. Raoul is backed into a corner, while Yakushi urges him to get on with it and end the fight already. Kashima grabs our homeboy by the neck, choking him as he whips back one final punch. This is supposed to be the killing blow, so if this thing hits Raoul's head, I'm afraid it will be hard to reattach. Yuzuha intervenes, begging them to stop. Suddenly, the sniper relays a message to Yakushi, revealing that someone from outside the hospital has made their move. The glass windows shattered, causing both assassins to get distracted by a mysterious new enemy. At first, Yakushi thinks that there's another sniper, but when he sees those cubicle grenades sliding right in, he realizes they're fucked. The explosions go off, but it's a decoy gas that has also deafened them. Kashima is suddenly kicked with a thrusting force, launching him straight back with ferocity. The figure emerging from the smoke is impressed that Hayate picked some really sturdy men by his side, as any normal person would have easily been killed by him. Yuzuha lays her eyes on the approaching figure, while Kashima and Yakushi are shocked that there is someone as powerful as this guy in Argos. They demand to know his name, to which Akatsuki gleefully reveals, emphasizing that he's one of the 12 divine spears of the Great Will. Yakushi's expression drops, while Akatsuki intends to cover for Kaido's mission. The sniper faces difficulty, as he's unable to make out anything in the smoke. Akatsuki has simultaneously trapped 3 of them with just one move. He stares them down, while Yuzuha suddenly realizes that this is the new transfer kid that moved in Kaido's class. He's actually shocked that she remembers him at all, and greets Yuzuha kindly. Akatsuki apologizes for cutting things short as he's got a mission to deal with. He orders Yuzuha to head upstairs and evacuate without Raoul, as he'll handle everything. Finally, he instructs her to stay away from windows because a sniper is busy tailing them. The girl yelps, worried for him, but Akatsuki flexes and assures her that everything is under control because he himself is a beast of his own class. Yuzuha understands the situation and turns around to bolt off. Kawai doesn't even have the chance to stop her, while Yakushi and Kashima are pissed that their target escaped. Yakushi instructs the team about Yuzuha's intent to rush to the 3rd floor. Their goal for now is to defeat the new kid in front of them. At first, they both take him lightly, treating Akatsuki as nothing more than a high schooler, when in reality he's stronger than both of these guys. Kashima is thrilled to find an even superior opponent, as defeating one of the 12 spears would be a stellar achievement on his resume. Yakushi emphasizes that they'll deploy teamwork to win this battle. First off, the muscle brute rages ahead to attack. He opens with hundreds of blows in an effort to overwhelm, but the unafraid and playful Akatsuki dodges all of them, praising Kashima for his endurance. The big guy is on such a rampage that he's out here smashing walls, dragging his punch just to get to his target. Kashima makes light of Akatsuki's attacks, who easily keeps dodging without any problem. Oh, but not just that. This dude also evades a rear stab from the red lance. Yakushi's precise stabs fail to pin him down, while Akatsuki praises their excellent teamwork. He touches things up a notch by throwing his trusty grenades. Thinking that they're going to be the same ones as last time, Yakushi recklessly slashes them with a wide swing, not knowing that he had miscalculated. There was another cube, hiding behind one of the decoys and trailing its path. That cube, and this kind of trickery is Akatsuki's forte, as he zaps and annihilates the assassin's body at a point-blank explosion. Coming up from behind, Kashima tries to punch him, but Akatsuki smoothly pops a cube in his face as well, nuking him altogether. He thought the fight was over, but somehow this musclehead blocked the explosion and tanked its damage. Kashima roars, stating that these kinds of bombs won't work on him. His punch literally shatters the ground. Akatsuki praises his immovable physique, and decides to play the game by Kashima's rules in a battle of strength. Both of them charge their fists at full force in Dragon Ball Z fashion, and then crack. Kashima takes enjoyment. It's the sound of bones breaking apart, and he has heard it against every fighter he's faced. But then reality gives him a major fuck you, because it's not Akatsuki's hand that got crushed, but his own gauntlet instead. Met with the searing pain, Kashima screams like a little bitch, while Mr. Look I'm So Fancy is currently holding his face in humiliation. Kashima can't even fathom how Akatsuki was able to do that with just his regular fist, and he had never even envisioned a future where he'd lose a fight of fists. Akatsuki mocks them both, questioning if they want to run. After all, they took the dangerous mission knowing they were going up against Gungear, so facing someone like Akatsuki was the least they could have predicted. Despair engulfs them as Bident of Great Will urges them to come challenge his might, because sooner or later, they'll wind up dead anyway. Going back to Kaido's fight against Narita, our boy is doing just fine dodging the whip blade. Narita finds Kaido's persistence quite annoying as he refuses to go down. Analyzing the situation calmly, Narita understands that he's dealing with a heavily wounded opponent. Even then, he can't land a proper hit, as if every move he makes has already been predicted before. Kaido's reaction speed is one of a kind, but in reality, our boy is barely holding on. His body is disobeying him, and yet he needs to get to Yuzuha quickly. Gathering every ounce of his will to execute this mission, he focuses his full strength on defeating the man in front of him, even while injured. This burning, seething, engulfing, and roaring killing intent is toweringly terrifying. Right now, Kaido's one and only goal is to kill. Channeling the Gungnir within, he flies with super speed. Narita is stunned and thinks that a direct lunge is foolish on his opponent's part, as he easily launches his blade. The blade crosses over to find Kaido, but instead of dodging it all the way, our boy catches it and starts pulling it. The jerking motion draws Narita into Kaido. Our boy is moments away from connecting his slashes. He even dodges Narita's last-minute desperate move to slash his face. The blade only grazes him. Letting out a scream, our boy knocks the edgy, emo-nonchalant wannabe Sigma male out of him with a punch to the gut. Meanwhile, Yuzuha and her assistant are heading to the 3rd floor. She collects her thoughts, connecting the clues of Kaido's personality shift after he was discharged. He's no longer the kind person he used to be, but Yuzuha can understand that Kaido doesn't mean his harsh words. He's just wrapped up in a troublesome mess and intends to keep her away from it. Sensing that he needs help, Yuzuha intends to assist him instead of getting in his way. All of a sudden, she sees Kaido, his shirt covered in blood with a blade in hand. Her eyes widened in horror, watching him kneeling on his exhausted body after defeating Narita. Kaido glances at Yuzuha, who had just witnessed a taste of what her friend is truly like. 30 minutes before the raid, we visited the Fujiwara residence. Here, his parents are the boy's irregular behavior as of late. His father thinks there's nothing to worry about as he always returns healthy. But the boy's mother senses something odd, especially when Kaido suddenly decided to go camping out of nowhere when he normally despised the idea. The boy's father assures his wife that their kid is just experiencing a growth period during high school, but Kaido's mom thinks it's odd for their son to be friends with someone like Raoul. Not to mention the fact that each of his friends were injured too. She has sensed a complete change in his mannerisms and personality as a whole, making her wonder if he's hiding a deep secret that he's afraid to tell. Kaido's father subverts her worries, emphasizing that it's wrong to doubt their child. But the boy's mother is truly afraid. Deep down, she fears that their beloved son will run off to some place out of reach. Suddenly the door rings. Their dog John barks, while Kaido's father goes up to open it. At the door, Hayate is standing there with a chilling expression. He poses as if he were a friend of Kaido who wanted to check on his health. The boy's father doesn't really know who this guy is and inquires about his intentions. Hayate casually hides a gun behind his back, sharing his name with a wide smile. Back to the scene at the hospital, our boy is looking rough, while Yuzuha is having the worst day of her life. Kaido's real self as Tuji has been exposed wide open. The moment he tries to reach out his hand, Yuzuha fears him and orders him to stay away. It's a complete shift, as if she recognizes him as this malevolent force. Yuzuha's reality has broken. No longer does she see Kaido in him, and she can only helplessly ponder the cold-blooded assassin's real identity. Distracted, our boy forgot about Narita, who pulls a few last-minute shurikens to catch our boy off guard. Kaido instantly deflects all of them using his knife. Narita gets back up, showing no signs of backing down because now he can seize the advantage against his opponent. With dozens of shurikens raining down on him, Kaido's having it really difficult to block them and protect Yuzuha at the same time. He maneuvers as fast as he can and ushers the naive girl to just run away already. She still stands there pondering what she should do until this guy has to scream at her to run off. Yuzuha turns tail and backs off, while the two assassins resume their duel to the death. Narita's attack patterns are an issue. The shurikens he shot this time had a slight curve, intentionally trailing by and curving around Kaido's face. His real target? The escaping helpless girl. Yuzuha is about to get hit, but Kaido instantly zooms into the line of attack, letting himself be cut instead. His entire body is scarred at this point, and the fight is harder to finish when Narita is insistent on targeting Yuzuha. But if that wasn't all, the girl fell and held her face, screaming in pain. One of the shurikens managed to slash her. This stimulation unleashes a memory of his dead girlfriend, the face of despair that Kaido saw when she died. Narita feels joy in exploiting Gungnir's weakness, thinking that he's got the upper hand by targeting Yuzuha instead. His plan is simple. Even if the top assassin can block every single hit on his own, he can't possibly keep up with Yuzuha's defenses. In that case, he will always have to sacrifice his own body to protect her. Narita banks his chances on this strategy, intending to deal the final blow only when Kaido is severely wounded and can't fight properly. But the minute he shoots the blade is also the same instant Kaido catches it with a lightning-fast lunge. In a split second, Narita couldn't even tell where this man popped out from. He's so busy processing what happened that Kaido easily uses his own kunai and slashes his face. The assassin is stupefied by that unrecognizable movement. To continue Narita's torture, our boy plunges his kunai into his foot, and unless you're Kratos from God of War, that's gotta hurt like a bitch. This is punishment for injuring Yuzuha, as Kaido dons a thrilling, fearsome face before taking his blade and slashing Narita dozens of times. Then he wraps up the fight with a soul-crushing hook to his abdomen. The attack launches Narita's body, causing him to tumble away like a rag doll. By the end, bro is put to sleep. Meanwhile, Kaido is still pissed off and openly refuses to let anyone hurt Yuzuha. Just when he had downed Narita, his brain signals him towards another opponent. The bullet is shot, and though it was aimed for a headshot, Kaido manages to duck just in time. Yuzuha is terrified where that came from, while our boy menacingly turns to stare down at his attacker. It's the sniper, Iwashimizu, who is incapable of understanding how he missed that shot. Bro has to be the most useless member on this team. Had one shot, and he missed that too. Iwashimizu realizes that Daddy Gungnir is out of his kiddie pool league, and that only one person can beat him right now. I don't know about that, but I do know that Kaido's headache is giving him some real shit again. He can't even stand anymore, and the situation will only get worse if Yuzuha isn't assigned someplace safe. Despite being at the verge of collapsing, he still cares about her. Meanwhile, this girl is out here still giving him shit for not being Kaido. She's just stunned that he decided to protect her. Yuzuha directly confronts him, questioning his real identity. It is here that Kaido is faced with the realization that he can no longer keep up charades. His lies are pointless now. Just as he's about to reveal his identity, Kaido senses a gun barrel resting on his head. But it's not a literal sensation. Rather, his body imagined the incoming threat. Quickly, he turns to his right and sees a certain someone approaching. This someone has immense killing intent and popped out of nowhere. Hayate joins the discussion and is understanding of Yuzuha's confusion. He even confirms that the boy in front of her isn't the Kaido Fujiwara she knows and loves. Gun in hand, Hayate directly confronts Tuji by name, kickstarting the final showdown that started it all. Going back to Akatsuki's fight, he's got the big guy on edge, while his partner is laid out dead. Kashima's arm is fully neutralized. He pants breathlessly, knowing that he doesn't have many options here. All he's currently thinking is just how deceptive the young boy's appearance is compared to his strength. Giving credit where it is due, Akatsuki actually praises him for displaying tremendous endurance for withstanding all those attacks. He mocks him, questioning if Kashima wants to continue. Enraged and relentless, the big guy roars, stating that he refuses to back out because if he does, he's nothing more than a lapdog. His ego gets the better of him as he loads another punch to attack. But it's already too late. Snap comes from the sound of Akatsuki's fingers, and boom goes to the cube under Kashima's heel. He knows he's fucked. The explosion renders him bursting upwards, smashing his head in the ceiling. Kashima's body flails on its way down, his head bleeding, his mouth coughing blood. He's finished. He can't even move a muscle anymore, and now finally understands the strength of an elite lance from the 12 spears. Throwing one last cube, Akatsuki declares the fight over. Another snap, and that's the end of Kashima's career. Raoul is currently down on the ground, hearing all those explosions. He gathers himself, knowing that he can't stay down for long, questioning how far the situation has escalated in his absence. His main focus is to get Yuzuha to a safe evacuation, as she is threatened by the Great Will organization now more than ever. Raoul looks to his side, his eyes widening in utter shock and his mind failing to comprehend what happened. The same lances that gave him a run for his money were now bloodied up, annihilated at the hands of a single opponent. Raoul is stunned to see someone capable of dealing so much damage on his own. Interestingly, it appears that Akatsuki also didn't win unscathed. He ended up being injured on his side, blood trickling down his body. Akatsuki gets on his knees in pain, while Raoul quickly rushes over to ask him how he got injured in the first place. In reality, it's not that this fight proved difficult to him at all. Rather, it's the fight from yesterday, when he faced off against Hayate. Despite Akatsuki's perfect getaway explosion, Hayate abused wall hacks and aimbot to shoot him down and wound him heavily. During this fight, the same wound opened up again due to his exertion. That's why Akatsuki is in pain. The craziest part of all is how this dude managed to low diff 2 whole lances while in his already injured position. It boggles Raoul's mind and he asks for the kid's identity. Akatsuki doesn't entertain a proper introduction and simply assures Raoul that he's on their side. He starts walking back, stating that he's yet to complete his real objective. For that, he must go and see things through. And by that, he means the fight between Hayate and our boy. Now let's get to the spiciest parts. Yuzuha is currently baffled by the revelation. It's the first time she's heard the name Tuji after all. Hayate is enjoying the moment, so he mockingly tells our boy to give her an adequate explanation. Kaito doesn't even care about the fact that he got his real identity exposed. He's just shocked that Hayate knows about it with certainty. His former best friend confirms the fact, and expresses that he became certain after Narita was taken down alongside the others. Other than that, he can intuitively tell that it's him just by speaking to him. Even when they were kids, Hayate and Tuji stuck through hardship for each other in the best and worst of times. He smiles, acting as if they're buddies. Kaito, or in this case, Tuji's voice shivers recalling the brutal memory of his dead girlfriend. That profound sadness is replaced with blood-boiling anger as he roars for an explanation, questioning why Hayate chose to betray him and his lover. Yuzuha is stumped to hear this, while Hayate simply laughs, highlighting that he already gave an answer to Tuji that same day. He wanted to punish the Divine Spears for ever even thinking about the concept of freedom. Hayate responds to Tuji's fury with his icy glare, counter-questioning why he betrayed Odin in the first place. After all, both of them swore each other to do whatever it took to abide by Odin's will. They wanted to make this world a better place and live their lives for it. The audacity of this fucker is so high that he points his gun at Yuzuha, amusing the thought that Tuji needs another reminder so he can understand again. This dude has no chill. Tuji roars at him to stop, stating that Yuzuha is unrelated to their personal matters. But Hayate got the answer he needed with this reaction. He knows our boy cares about this girl, and to knock him down even more, he coldly shares that he paid a visit to Kaito's parents earlier too. Those words paralyze our boy with fear and shock. Only the worst of the worst can be assumed by this comment, implying that Hayate murdered them in cold blood. Championing his philosophy, Hayate states that evil is something that betrays justice itself. In his worldview, it's not the organization, but rather Tuji who is evil. With the gun aimed at him, Kaido realizes that it's about to be fired. He shoves Yuzua to the side, the bullet goes off but likely misses both of them. It also allows Kaido to burst forward with speed using his future sight. With every lunge, he screams Hayate's name, coldly slashing away at him. The gunman avoids each merciless attack in rapid succession. In an opportune moment, he ducks one of Kaido's blows, before concealing his gun behind his baggy jacket, a creative way to shoot someone down. Our boy senses this only thanks to his ability, and avoids the shot. Hayate doesn't stop there, as he rolls down more bullets at him in an effort to take him down. Kaido hides behind cover and yells at Yuzua, questioning if she's still okay. He instructs her to stay put and hidden. It seems like she's run off to someplace, shouting his name in worry of what is happening. This situation is really bad. Our boy is already covered in wounds and in suboptimal condition, and here Hayate is responding with top-tier speed. No longer does our boy care about his headache. All he cares about is personalizing his focus, honing it to detect Hayate's every movement. Inside Hayate's mind, he notices how Tuji is managing to keep up even in an inferior body, predicting a lot of shots. He even praises the current version of him for being able to defeat Akatsuki with ease. The whole ordeal makes him amused, because it puts Hayate in a position where he can deploy his ability again as well. Lowering his stature, the assassin taps into a troublesome skill called limitless speed. This thing literally makes this man freaking vanish like he just said peace out. Seeing him vanish into thin air runs off 1,000 alarms in Kaido's body. The same killing intent which was apparent earlier is now completely undetectable. He helplessly looks for it, when in reality a gun is already placed on the back of his head. It's too late for our boy to notice it. The shot goes off and he minimally dodges it to prevent a proper headshot. Somehow Kaido's godlike reflexes are allowing him to evade numerous incoming shots. He's forced in an incredibly disadvantageous position, where there isn't any killing intent or presence to go off of. It's as if he's being cornered from every direction imaginable. A sense of unsettling despair grows inside of him, no different than the feeling he experienced back when he faced Hayate back then. By the way, this is exactly the reason why Hayate easily took down Tuji while he was too stunned. Responding with ferocity, our boy strikes his gun and redirects the shot, before roaring Hayate's name again. Both of them scream at each other with murderous intent, as their game of death comes one step closer to an end.